I was just as surprised as you guys all were that Candace was not live tonight. I don't know if the 1 minute countdown, the 2 minute countdown matters or not, but it's one less button I have to push. So I'm sticking with it for now. We'll see how it works out. Welcome in. Welcome in. We got a lot to talk about tonight. A whole lot to talk about tonight. One of the things I want to talk about, I want to play at some point, and I'm not going to do it right this second, but I want to play the, I guess it's a 2-ish minute clip that Candace put up of the new series she's working on. Because at first I thought, well, I would have rather liked to see her show tonight. And then I saw the promo. And I thought, well, maybe I can give her a couple more days to finish that off. It looked good. Had Bride of Chucky feels to it. It was great. So we're going to talk about that. We got a lot to talk about. I did not know Erika Kirk was sick. This is news to me. We found this out today. We'll talk about that, what that means, what she might have, and how we figured that out. So we're going to talk about that as well. Got a good opening lined up for you about going back to the basics. A very critical component of any investigation is going back to the basics, the blocking and tackling that we've been doing here on this program. Sorry, I had to fix something that was driving me nuts off the right side of my vision there. So we'll do that. What else do we have? Oh, I'm going to tell you what else we have. Got a little more clarity on the final 48 hours of Charlie Kirk's time on this earth.
To say excited.
Describes her husband's funeral as the event of the century. Merch, hats.
We have 50,000 plus hat orders.
Nobody knows why she's out there in a glittering pantsuit in a recreated tent that her husband tragically was murdered in, throwing merch out.
Everyone grieves differently, so if someone's acting weird, don't read into that.
Zionists, the Prime Minister of Israel, all lied through their teeth about Charlie Kirk.
Her operation was in Constanta, the epicenter of Romania's trafficking scandal.
We learned conversations to have with a 15-year-old. I'm going to touch your butt.
$8.6 million to their own shell company. What is going on?
We have nothing to hide. My aunt used to tell me, never do something that you don't want on the front page of a newspaper.
That's got Bride of Chucky feels, doesn't it? I saw that and thought, whoa, that has real Bride of Chucky feels. And it matches her eyes that she sometimes gets when she mentions our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. So I look forward to that. I think we have to wait until Wednesday. So on a programming note, I probably will do a show tomorrow. I usually take Tuesday off. But if she's going to be off again until tomorrow, I'll probably do a show tomorrow and then maybe take Wednesday off so that we can all kind of digest the first episode of the Bride of Charlie. Whoa, the Bride of Charlie. All right. With that out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to get into the opening statement and a lot of what we've uncovered and have to bring for you today. So if you will, someone said I'm wiping my fake tears. So if you'll give me just a moment, let me get the open pulled up and we'll get underway in a matter of mere seconds. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. This is your opening statement. Carol Bonnet was a 61-year-old man living a pretty quiet life in Omaha, Nebraska. This was way back in the late 1970s. Carol Bonnet was born around 1917. He worked as an employee at a local hospital, though it's unclear exactly what he did there. He lived alone in a modest apartment, but he was known for being fairly social. He frequently visited local bars, for example, where he enjoyed buying drinks for the younger men he met, often inviting them back to his home for conversation or even temporary stays. He was generous. He allowed guests and visitors to use his car on occasion, which reflected a hospitable, if perhaps lonely, personality. His lifestyle suggested he sought companionship in Omaha's social scene, but very little else is documented about his early years, particularly his family, personal achievements, or anything else. He seemed to have led a fairly unassuming existence. On or about October 15, 1978, Carol Bonnet was murdered. It was brutal. It was a baffling crime that shocked the Omaha community and stumped investigators for decades. Bonnet had failed to report for work for 2 days, which prompted a concerned friend to contact his landlord. The landlord peered through the mail slot and saw Carol Bonnet lying on the floor. Called an ambulance, and the Omaha Fire Department broke into his apartment. Inside, they discovered Bonnet naked and face down in the living room. He had a single fatal stab wound to his abdomen. An autopsy conducted on October 18 confirmed he had been dead for approximately 48 hours, and he had succumbed to a massive internal bleed caused by being stabbed. The scene was eerie. His apartment, which typically was pretty neat and orderly, had scattered newspapers on the coffee table all over the floor, a severed telephone cord that would have prevented any calls for help, and a taunting note left by the presumed killer claiming one piece of evidence remained. The letter ended with a derogatory remark directed at the cops. Bonnet's wallet and cash were missing, which initially suggested it could have been a robbery. His car had also been stolen. The initial investigation by the Omaha Police Department was thorough, but ultimately fruitless. Crime scene technicians collected extensive evidence, including lifting fingerprints and palm prints from the bathroom door, the medicine cabinet, some beer cans, a coffee table, and the telephone, as well as areas where the killer likely would have washed off blood. 3 towels near the body contained fecal matter and hairs. Cigarette butts were found in the apartment and later in the abandoned car. His car was recovered on October 19th in Cicero, Illinois, with a stolen license plate reported missing on October 16th. The police were able to lift additional fingerprints inside the car. There was a classified advertisement flyer in the apartment that had the name Jerry W. scribbled on it, but this clue wasn't pursued very deeply at the time. What made the case particularly difficult to solve was a combination of circumstantial leads and investigative constraints. Police interviewed witnesses about Bonnet's habits and identified several men initially who had stayed with him or used his car. These included 2 former guests the police first considered suspects. However, their alibis and a general lack of any evidence cleared them as suspects. The fingerprints and other prints were compared against local, state, and out-of-state databases, but there were no matches identified. At the time, there were no national systems like the FBI's Integrated Automated Fingerprint Identification System, the IAFIS. DNA analysis was unavailable at the time. It was still in its infancy and generally not available for use until the late 1980s at the earliest. The crime's apparent motive lacked eyewitnesses, and the taunting note provided no fingerprints or leads. With no strong suspects and evidence that couldn't be fully exploited, the case went cold by the early 1980s. It sat and languished in police files alongside other tragic and unsolved homicides. As time passed, potential witnesses aged, moved, or even died, which further complicated any future revival of the case. The 30-year gap eroded memories and physical evidence integrity. For example, the taunting note went missing. There were some items like sheets and a Def Leppard t-shirt that were found intermingled in storage, which raised chain of custody questions. The cold case was eventually reopened in late 2008. It was sparked by an external inquiry that prompted the Omaha Police Department to revisit the file. Senior crime laboratory technician Laura Casey decided to run the original latent prints through the new IAFIS database. This database had been launched for national use in 1999 and allowed rapid comparisons unavailable back in 1978. Within 5 hours, the system returned a few possible candidates. The technician manually confirmed the match to a man named Jerry Watson, who, at 54 years old, was incarcerated at the time in an Illinois prison on unrelated burglary and drug charges. This breakthrough led to the case's formal assignment in March 2009 to the Cold Case Homicide Unit. The reopening was driven by advances in technology and a commitment to unresolved victims. Omaha's Cold Case Squad systematically reviewed the old files. Watson's impending release from prison added a new sense of urgency. A detective with the Cold Case Unit traveled to Illinois on December 2nd, 2009, and obtained fresh fingerprints, fresh palm prints, and a good DNA sample just days before Watson was set to be released from custody. The resolution in the case came not solely from high-tech tools, but from a methodical return to investigative basics, re-examining the original crime scene details, looking afresh at evidence logs, and noting the sequence of events on the day of the murder. The unit pored over the original 1978 reports and noted overlooked connections like the Jerry W. on the classified ad flyer, which aligned with Jerry Watson's name. Detectives discovered Watson had grown up in Cicero, Illinois. That's where Bonnet's car was abandoned. He'd visited a relative in Omaha in the fall of 1978, which placed him in the area. Watson had lived under aliases in Missouri and Florida post-murder. That suggested flight. Crucially, detectives collaborated with the University of Nebraska Medical Center to test previously unanalyzable items for DNA. We're talking about the hairs on the towel that matched Watson with astronomical odds. DNA from the cigarette butts in the apartment and car and a beer can in the kitchen wastebasket also matched Watson. Fingerprints on the bathroom door and the medicine cabinet were definitively Jerry Watson's. This foundational approach of stripping away all assumptions and meticulously reconstructing the timeline from Bonnet's last known activities until his body was discovered is what definitively and irrefutably tied Watson to the scene at the time of the murder. Murder charges were filed on November 15, 2010, which led to a 2011 trial where, despite defense arguments about the decades-long delay causing witness unavailability, a jury convicted Watson of first-degree murder and use of a deadly weapon. Watson was sentenced to life plus 10 to 20 years in 2011, almost 33 years to the day after Carol Bonnet's body was discovered. The Carol Bonnet case has become a foundational study in cold case investigations. Bonnet's case illustrates how persistence, evidence preservation, and a blend of modern technology with good old-fashioned traditional detective work can crack long, dormant cases. In 2012, detectives and technicians working on the case received the FBI's Latent Hit of the Year Award, which recognizes IAFIS's role in identifying Watson and highlighted the value of national databases. Bonnet's case further underscores foundational lessons in forensic science, such as the importance of meticulously securing crime scenes, as the prints and DNA collected in 1978 proved pivotal to the case, even decades later. The case also highlighted the ethical duty to revisit cases without time limits by going back to the basics. Discard all assumptions. Bonnet's case has become famous in investigative circles and is widely taught in criminology and forensics classes at universities and training academies as the classic case of a cold case methodology. Ultimately, Bonnet's case inspires law enforcement training, emphasizing that going back to the basics can deliver justice even after generations, ensuring murder victims like Bonnet are not forgotten. And that is your opening statement. I like that case. I like that story because we sometimes get caught up in the details that we think we know, and we forget about going back to the original basics of what was happening. We forget about going back to the original timeline. Forget about going back to the scene of the crime and looking at everything afresh. We forget about what was happening in the day leading up to it. Who was he around? Who was he talking to? What was he doing? That's easy to get lost in when you're talking about a case with particularly sensational details. That's what happened in the Charlie Kirk case, I'm afraid. It's 5 months in and it's already happening. But before we get to that, before we talk about that, I want to bring up something important. I did not know that Erika Kirk was sick, ladies and gentlemen. I learned that today. She apparently is under the weather. I'll play you a brief clip explaining why. This is from her Proclaim Bible 365 podcast group.
Hello, my Bible and 365 brothers and sisters. I got to tell you, I am so excited about today. We are doing a live Q&A. I cannot wait to get down to answering some of these questions, but I want to say something right off the bat, and that is our dear Erika is very much under the weather. And it's got to be kind of bad because most of the time that's not enough to keep her from doing anything, especially when it comes to stuff like this. We've been looking forward to this Q&A for quite some time. Obviously, we're going to continue to do it. And we're going to have Kate join us in just a second, which I'm looking forward to. But I just wanted you to know that. And what I wanted to do was just open up in prayer.
Okay, so he opens up and prays for her, and we should pray for people who are sick. I don't want anything bad to happen to Erika. But I bring that up for an interesting reason. If it was just that she was sick, I probably wouldn't even have mentioned it. But we have a timeline that we can look at of when this event was scheduled. We can look at the website, for example, where the event was announced. Here is the announcement of the live Q&A, February 20th, 2 to 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. There's a private YouTube link, so you have to be invited to this thing. And this was going to have this gentleman here on the left, who is her Bible in 365 co-host. His name's Candace, Kaddis. He's an Egyptian American pastor. And then Erika Kirk was going to be invited for the Bible in 365, I guess Bible in a year or whatever. This is the branding of this event. So they announced this, but when did they announce it? Well, we know that. And this is interesting because we can actually go to the metadata of the website and we can look at precisely the last modification of this website. And I'll show you why this is important in just a minute. But here we can find, see this right here, last mod. This was last modified on 2026-02-03. So this announcement was put up on February 3rd, 2026. I promise you in just a moment, this is all going to make sense to you. So what we have is on February 3rd, 2026, Erika Kirk had committed to doing a live Q&A. That live Q&A was to take place on February 20th, 17 days notice. Apparently she's gotten sick. I don't doubt that she's sick. That's not the purpose of this. The purpose of this is to show you we're able to capture these events, because why this becomes important is this is not her first Q&A that she was supposed to have done. Here is another one that she was scheduled to do. This one was on September 26th of this year. You might notice that date because it's 16 days after her husband lost his life. When I first saw that, I thought, well, perhaps, surely, this is something that was scheduled before her husband lost his life. Maybe we should look at the metadata then. When was this scheduled? What was going on in Erika's life when this was scheduled? This is a September 26th Q&A live with Erika Kirk and pastoral advisor James Candace. So let's go and look at when this event was scheduled. It's a little weird, I'll be honest with you. I would think she had something else going on when this was scheduled, but maybe not. This event was scheduled on September 19th of 2025. September 19th of 2025. Do you guys remember what was going on September 19th of 2025? That is the last modification to this. This September 26th date was last modified on September 19th of 2025, meaning on September 19th of 2025, somebody poked their head in and said, hey, Erika, are you cool doing a Q&A for your Bible 365 podcast next week? This was 2 days before Charlie's memorial. This was 9 days after Charlie was tragically taken from this earth. This was supposedly when everybody in the building was working 120-hour weeks. This supposedly was a day or two after the funeral where they may or may not have actually buried a body. It's just a weird timing to me that you would jump in and schedule a live Q&A in this moment. Like there's so much else going on It just seems very tone deaf for me to somebody to poke their head in her office and say, I know we're planning your husband's memorial. I know we just did his funeral. I know he just died. Are you up for a Q&A? You want to do a live Q&A next week? It's just tone deaf. And I think about this. Actually, Daisy found this. We discovered this and talked about it before Candace had put up her preview for what she's doing this week. At the time, there was no preview up. The 2-minute preview I showed you earlier was not up. And it's a gentle reminder that this is not normal, in my opinion. I don't know any widow at age 36 who's the mother of 2 kids under the age of 4 or 4 and under. I'm not sure exactly how old those kids are. Who is 2 days out from planning a memorial that's going to have, I think they ended up with almost 300,000 people there in the area that they captured. A day or two after the funeral. Who's out there planning Q&As? Who's out there planning question and answer sessions on a Bible podcast? I just don't know anyone like this. Dare I say, normal 36-year-old widows with 2 orphan kids don't grieve like this. This isn't normal to me. It's more evidence that something's weird here. More evidence that something's weird there. But I don't want to get lost on this. It is noteworthy, though, that the Q&As for this Bible 365, these Q&As, they were all public on YouTube up until August of 2025. Starting with Charlie's death, they're now all private. You get a private link. They're not available online. You can't watch them, except the one from this last month, from last week, where Erika was sick. If Erika's not there, it's public. You can see it. If Erika's there, it's private. You're not allowed to look at it. So I thought that was a little weird. It was just something that popped up, and I thought, nah, this is not normal. This is not how people grieve. This should not be happening at all. This should not be happening. All right, now, I want to go back to a comment somebody made last night where they said you might be able to find an interview. There was some information we were trying to find, and they said, well, it's available in an interview that Andrew Kolvet gave with Ross Douthat of the New York Times, and that interview is available on YouTube. And I thought, well, I haven't seen that. I wonder if there's anything else good in there. Spoiler alert, there's a lot of good stuff in there. As we're going back to the basics and really trying to recreate a timeline, this is dynamite. This is dynamite. This is Andrew uncensored when it comes to some of this stuff. And there was an overarching, overriding conclusion I had at the end of this. I'm not going to show, it's an hour and 10 minutes. We're not going to sit here and watch an hour and 10 minutes. I have a few clips I want to pull out of it. They range from 30 seconds to a few minutes each. But I want to talk about it because I think it's pretty interesting as we're trying to put together what was Charlie doing the last few days of his life? What was Andrew and what were other people doing on the day Charlie passed away? And then I'm not going to spoil the surprise. I have an overarching conclusion I want to offer. And it is remarkable in light of everything we will talk about today. So I am going to play a few clips. I'm going to make a quick commitment to you. I'm going to try to not screw this up. I'm going to try to make sure you have sound every time you have clips. I'm going to try to make sure the clip is right here on the screen, right where I am now. I will be relocated to one of these sides over here. I'm not sure which way it goes. I think I'm going to be over here. I'm going to make sure Andrew and Ross are big and you're able to hear them. I make no promises that it'll happen. I'm just telling you I'm going to try to not pull a Barron here. So let me get started here. This is a first little clip, and it kind of sets up the whole interview because Ross Douthat asks him, hey, give me a quick rundown of who you are, Andrew Kolvet. Tell me more.
Andrew Kolvet, welcome to Interesting Times.
Thank you. Honored to be here.
So I want to start just by doing a kind of introduction and having you explain your current role as a steward of the organizations that Charlie Kirk built. You're part of the leadership of Turning Point USA, which is the conservative youth organization that Kirk founded. And you're also, you were the executive producer of the Charlie Kirk Show, which Kirk hosted, and now you are hosting. So just tell me a little bit about how you came to be involved with Charlie Kirk in the first place.
All right, real quick. Let me pause for just a second and say, this interview was from, let me look real quickly. This interview was from December 11th is when it was posted. I don't know when it was recorded. It may have been recorded a day or two in advance, but this is early December of this year. And I think it's important to note that. I want to make sure we capture that timeline. This is early December of this year. A lot's happened since then, admittedly. It's been 3 months since this interview aired. But it doesn't change what he says. And it doesn't change my conclusion. Ooh, that's the wrong one. Put up. It doesn't change my conclusion about what he said. So let me go now. So we have kind of an update. I wanted to play his question so you got sort of an idea of why Andrew is about to say the things he's about to say. But I want you to listen to Andrew's version of what he does and how he got to TPUSA and what his role is there. Because I think as we analyze, as you guys know, and let me say this, I found for a long time Andrew to be a very sympathetic figure in this. I used to look into the camera and ask Andrew to come to repentance. Let us know, Andrew. And I'll do it again. Andrew, this is your soul we're talking about here. This is not a joking matter. I know we like to have fun on this program. And we laugh and we make fun of people and we have a good time, but this is your soul. This is a big deal. This is a really big deal. And my conclusion has a lot to do with that. I'm going to give you the conclusion after we hear more from them, but I want you to hear it from him directly. This is sort of the setup. This isn't the best and most juicy part, but there's a golden nugget in this rambling answer he gives initially. And when I get to it, I'm going to pause it and I'm going to tell you, this is totally changes my impression of what's happened to Charlie Kirk and how he ended up in the grave.
And I would be remiss if I didn't say that the real reason I'm here is because we had originally scheduled Charlie to come sit down with you. But I think what you said is probably accurate. I don't even describe myself as the host of the Charlie Kirk Show. Charlie is the host of the Charlie Kirk Show. And I see our job as being stewards of his mission.
I want to pause right there because I had the same look on my face. Ross Douthat is a very serious man. He's not prone to accept jargon. When Andrew Kolvet said Charlie is the host of the Charlie Kirk Show, I thought, Andrew? Charlie's not with us anymore. The show might be called the Charlie Kirk Show, but he's not the host. That might be a cool, weird expression that you guys use, and for stupid people or low IQ people, they might eat that up. Ross Douthat and your humble host both had that same look on our faces when we first heard that expression. Huh? Charlie is the host of the Charlie Kirk Show?
Of his message. But yeah, Charlie and I, we started the show in 2019. May 2019 was our first episode, and we just did one podcast a week. And
which is, I should say, a lot. Now that I have a podcast of my own. But you were working at Turning Point before that.
Yeah, I'll go back a step. So
this is important. He's going to say how he ended up at Turning Point. I want you to ask the question in your mind as you're listening to this. Does it sound like Charlie intended to have Andrew Kolvet and people associated with him embedded into Turning Point, or does it sound like maybe they pursued him? And there's an important distinction to that when you hear who he's been associated with.
I was actually living and working in Hollywood. I had a job working with Mark Burnett, of The Voice,
yep.
Celebrity Apprentice, Survivor, Shark Tank. So he was doing those projects, and then at some point he got into faith-based content. I was thrown into the deep end of, one day we would be at Jimmy Kimmel, or we'd be, at one of the nightly shows, and then we would go to CNN, and then we go to Fox, and then we'd be at a church. Mark's chief of staff, a guy named Johnny Moore at the time, started a PR company, asked me to start it with him. I wanted to write screenplays, actually. Doing the LA thing, my head was still very much in that space, and I wanted to make content. And so I kind of refused, and then he said, why don't you just work a couple days a week, help me get this thing off the ground, and then you can do your own thing. And along the way, we started bringing on conservative clients.
So he's working with these people, and he says they start bringing on conservative clients. Listen to the list of people he names and see what they have in common in your mind. And then I'll tell you my impression after he lists them. But as he's listing these conservative clients that Johnny Moore is bringing on this newly formed company that Andrew's working with him, listen to this list of people and tell me if there's a common thread running through these people.
So ended up, PragerU was one of those clients. We ended up bringing on The Blaze as a client.
PragerU and The Blaze. Does anybody know what they have in common? PragerU and The Blaze are big Mike Huckabee fans, if that tells you what they have in common. Huge into Huckabee. Big Huckabites.
And at one point, Charlie came across the path of Johnny in Southern Florida at some event and said, hey, you should look into this guy. He's young, but, I think he's got a lot of energy. You should contact him. Here's his email.
So Johnny runs across Charlie at an event. He hears Charlie speaking. He runs into him at a social event. I'm not sure what, but he takes a liking to him. Now, you keep in mind of when this is. This is pre-COVID. This is pre-Erika, or maybe Erika's just entered the picture. They're not married yet. They have no kids. But Johnny runs into Charlie, and he reaches out to Andrew and says, you need to contact this guy. You need to get in touch with him. You need to bring him into the fold. What fold? The Blaze fold? The PragerU fold? The people who love our greatest ally. You need to bring him into the fold. This guy's got a following. He's got energy. He's got money. You need to get in touch with this guy. How does that go?
I reached out to him, said, hey, would love to talk about maybe working with you. He basically ghosted, for a while.
He wasn't interested. No, thank you, Mr. Kolvet. I appreciate your offer, but no thanks. Did Andrew give up? When Mrs. Coleman, when I first approached her, much like Andrew was approaching Charlie, only romantically, not for work. She also was not amused with your humble host, but I did not give up. And sometimes that's what it takes. And you'll be shocked to learn how this ends.
And eventually he had some news story that he tried to handle on his own that didn't go so well, and kind of blew up. And then he called me, got to work with him via the agency for about a year. And then he basically said, hey, I like you. I'll hire you. I'll be your first client. And I also want to start a podcast, and I want you to help me do that.
So what you have is Andrew Kolvet would not know who Charlie Kirk is, but for Johnny Moore spotting Charlie Kirk and saying, this is a guy we need. We need him on the team. And sometimes all you got to do is plant seeds. This is what we do. We're pros. We're good at it. We're professionals. We've got people like The Blaze, people like PragerU. We can help you. This is a well-known tactic when you want to control somebody. You want to control somebody, you come in and you offer them something. Maybe you offer to work at a reduced rate. Maybe you offer to make their life a little easier. But it planted a seed, and that seed germinated because eventually Charlie comes across a problem and says, oh, I need to call that guy that I was talking to. What was his name? Oh, Kolvet. I need to call Kolvet. He needs to help me out with this. Now, again, we're just getting Kolvet's side of it. Charlie's not available. We can't hear his version. Charlie may have said, no, Kolvet called me 73 times. I don't know. But when I heard him say all this, I thought, boy, this sounds like he was pursued. Like these guys are trying to handle him. Like they realize he's got enough of a following that they don't want him to be a loose cannon out on his own. They want to make sure they can kind of control the message, handle the message, put messages in, and shape Charlie into a different creature. Now, this is where it gets really interesting to me. We're skipping forward about 6 minutes. So if you're following along at home and you're watching that interview, or you want to go back and watch the rest of it, there's other good stuff in there, but I think I've got most of the good stuff in my clip. So we'll fast forward about 6 minutes. Now they're going to talk about what was the day of the Big Bang like for you? What did you do in the day leading up? What did you do on the day of? Tell me how it affected you. It's a very interesting discussion.
No. If you don't mind, can you just say something about what the day itself was like for you?
Yeah. Well,
it can be brief.
Yeah, I know. It's so the day before, actually, I had booked an interview for him that he was not super pleased that I booked for him, but there was a good reason for doing it. But he was like, you know what? I'm tired now, and I want to focus on the tour tomorrow. So you're gonna guest host the show tomorrow.
Okay, this is interesting to me. This I book noted this in my mind. And this took some research to put together and figure out what the hell he was just talking about. Our handler here, Andrew, the guy who pursued Charlie, the guy who worked for the guy who discovered Charlie in South Florida at some event, and the guys got together and said, we need to control this guy. We got to get in front of this guy. Andrew says the day before he passes away, he booked an interview, and Charlie wasn't happy about it. Well, Daisy goes off and does Daisy things. She looks up every interview Charlie Kirk had the day before and identified with near certainty what exactly was the interview that Charlie Kirk wasn't happy about. And when you see it, you're going to go, oh, yeah, exactly. I guarantee you he wasn't happy about it. I'll play a clip of that interview now, if you guys don't mind. It's pretty fascinating. It's pretty fascinating. You guys remember this interview? The eyebrow interview? You guys remember when those caterpillars went flying up his forehead? I do. I'll play that part right here.
I think it's very important for our audience to hear this, though, because there is an incessant campaign. And one thing a friend sent to me, interestingly, which is, okay, Charlie, we've pushed back against the media on COVID, on lockdowns, on Ukraine, on the border, so like maybe we should also ask a question. Is the media totally presenting the truth when it comes to Israel? Just a question, that maybe we shouldn't believe.
Look at those babies. Those are amazing. Those are great eyebrows, and they're high. They're very high on the forehead. They just went right up. Why would Charlie not have wanted to do this interview? If you've not seen the interview, it's fantastic. I could play another minute or so and give you a nice feel for it. But why would Charlie not have wanted to do this interview? Could it be because he was texting Andrew Kolvet and Dan Flood pretty much on this day, September 9th, saying, they're trying to kill me. These people are going to kill me. I think there are people who want to kill me. And Andrew, you know who they are. It's the eyebrow people. It's the people who do this. Andrew was aware of the text thread where he said, I'm left no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. Andrew was aware of it. Yet he books this interview. He books this interview. It's insane to me. It's absolutely insane to me when you put it all together in the timeline. Again, you got to get back to the basics. You have to strip away everything you think you know about the Charlie Kirk investigation. You have to pull it all away. And you got to go back and look at the peepers. You got to look at his peepers and the peeper covers. Look at those curtains.
Everything the media says, because I know I've been conditioned to ask a lot more critical questions over the last couple of years. So, Ben, some people would accuse Israel of wanting to ethnically cleanse. Some people in the Israeli government are saying, again, it's all over the place, right? You have opinions all over. In your opinion, what would a good outcome 5 years from now be? And how does one respond to the claims of ethnic cleansing?
Look at Ben's face. Look at his face. Andrew booked this interview knowing everything else that was going on in Charlie's life. Every other single thing going on in Charlie's life, Andrew was aware of. At one point, he calls him one of his best friends, his business partner. He acts like they were, thick as thieves. He's aware of the text message. I'm left with no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. He's aware of the problems that took place at the donor summit. He's aware of the problems that took place at the Hamptons meeting. Yet he says, I booked an interview that Charlie wasn't happy about, but did it for a good reason. Ladies and gentlemen, what was the good reason? What could the good reason have possibly been? Why would you put him in this situation? I didn't know how this interview came to be. I thought Charlie might have booked it. I had no idea it was booked against Charlie's will. I had no idea Charlie didn't want to do it. I had no idea Charlie was upset about it. It makes sense in retrospect. When you strip away everything we thought we knew about the days leading up to Charlie's demise, it makes perfect sense now. Andrew sabotaged him. Andrew kissed him on the cheek. It makes perfect sense to me in retrospect. Oh, that's just a few seconds into this, what I thought was a pretty compelling set of facts. There were some other interviews that were booked that day. They kept him pretty busy on the day before he passed away. For example, here is an interview that took place on Trinity Broadcasting Network, September 9th, 2025. This is called Charlie Kirk Today. Charlie Kirk, September 9th, 2025 on the TBN. That's the network up here. And he did an interview with them. Charlie Kirk, as he breaks down the biggest news, challenges the mainstream narrative, delivers fearless commentary on faith, culture, and politics. No spin, no censorship, just the truth. Well, that was on September 9th. What else was on September 9th? Well, he also did a hit on MSNBC, of all places. This, again, was from September 9th, 2025. This is Mark Halperin's show called Next Up.
To talk to you about. What an incredible story.
Guys, he just got back from Korea a couple days before. He was leaving the following day on a campus tour. The day after that, he would be in Colorado. The next week, a couple of days after that, he was going to spend a couple of days in Tennessee. The day after that, he was going to be gone basically nonstop. This was really his last chance to see his family, be home, relax before he kicks off a pretty grueling schedule. And instead of just giving the man a breather, he books him on 3 shows. Not to mention he has to do the Charlie Kirk show. That's 2 hours as well. And one of them was with Caterpillar Eyes. Mr. Tiny Horse himself. It's just a fascinating, interesting perspective on how they tortured this man up until his dying breath. They could not leave him alone. They could not. Now, part of me wonders, and I'm sure part of you wonders, were they trying to keep him busy? Like, were they trying to keep him from looking around and noticing that there was this huge operation being planned all around him involving just about everyone he knows? Were they trying to keep him from having to contact Mikey McCoy and Andrew Kolvet? Were they trying to keep him away from Erika so they didn't know where she was? I don't know. Were they trying to legitimize Ben Shapiro the day before Charlie passed away? I don't know. I mean, it would require that hypothesis would require Andrew Kolvet's advanced knowledge. It would require his awareness of what was going to happen and take place on the following day. So, I mean, it's a big leap. Granted. But I wonder if you're going to throw those caterpillars at me, I got a right to ask these questions. Hold on. I'm not about to play a clip without showing you guys. Don't even think about that. I wouldn't do such a thing.
I guest hosted the show that morning. It was, uneventful, and we had a pre-record for hour 2 actually. So it's probably too in the weeds, but
no, not too in the weeds at all, Andrew. Just to let you know what he said, if that got past you, the first thing he was talking about was Charlie had been forced into an interview with the inimitable Ben Shapiro on September 9th. And as punishment, Charlie said, well, that's fine. I'll do this horrific interview with this horrible human being, but you have to host the Charlie Kirk show the next day. And Andrew says, okay, I will. So what did he do to host the Charlie Kirk show? Well, let me tell you quickly how the Charlie Kirk show works. Charlie Kirk show is 2 hours. It runs from noon to 2 p.m. Eastern time. That is 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Pacific time. That's where Andrew lives. And at the time, that's where Arizona was. Arizona doesn't switch times. They're always on Mountain Standard. And so for 6 months of the year, a few months of the year, it used to be 6 and 6, but now it's a few months of the year, they're on Pacific time, and a few months of the year, they're on Mountain time. Well, on September 10th, the morning of the Big Bang, Arizona was on Pacific time. This is important. I promise you. And so he is, someone sent me this on X, but it's a really good summary of what the show was that day. And I will share it with you here now. He said he had a pre-record for hour 2. So let's look at what the time looks like on that pre-record for hour 2. What we have here is hour 1, which you'll look over here on the far right, is 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific time. That's that highlighted one right there on the right. From 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific time, Andrew Kolvet hosted live the first hour of the Charlie Kirk show on September 10th, the day Charlie Kirk lost his life. He hosted it live. He did not host it live the second hour. He did what was called a pre-record, meaning all they did was hit play and then they could walk out of the studio. They didn't have to hang around. Why would you do such a thing? Charlie Kirk asked you to host the show. Charlie Kirk said, as punishment for making me talk to the Caterpillar Eye guy, you have to host the Charlie Kirk show the next day. I would argue he did not do that. I would argue one of Charlie Kirk's dying wishes was unfulfilled. I, Charlie Kirk, soon to be debacled, want you, Andrew Kolvet, to host my show tomorrow. Andrew Kolvet says, fine. That's the punishment I get for making you talk to the guy who rides a midget horse. And then he goes off and he schedules a second hour that is a pre-record, meaning he is not hosting the second hour of the show. He's not even in the studio. He doesn't have to be in the studio. Why is this important? Why bring this up? What are you talking about? Well, I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about because I think it's pretty important. I want to take you to the flight log that we've been looking at over and over of the different planes that landed in Provo, Utah. One day I'm going to figure out how to make things bigger and smaller and move stuff around. But today's not that day, apparently. Oh, come on. There we go. I'm going to show you this flight log. I've shown it to you before. It's got my summaries embedded in it. So I will walk you through it. We know for a fact this first green flight at the top, N102 Delta Zulu, went from Scottsdale to Salt Lake City, and it carried Charlie Kirk. We know that for a fact. There's no presupposition. There's no assumption. Ignore everything in here in the middle, except for this third gold line right here. It's directly under the gigantic red lettering that says Big Bang at 12:23. That flight took off at 12:37 p.m. Utah time. It flew from Santa Barbara to Scottsdale. We have never been given an explanation. I have Andrew's name written off here to the right because I assume Andrew was on that flight, but we've been given no explanation for whether or not Andrew actually was on the flight. That's just me guessing that Andrew might have taken this flight. But you'll notice that's 12:37 Utah time, which would be 11:37 Pacific time, Santa Barbara time. And that would have been a very tight squeeze for Andrew to host the second hour of the Charlie Kirk show and hustle over to the airport and get on a plane and get it taken off within 37 minutes. That would have been a very tight window. As someone who hosts shows, I know that when you turn the mics off at the end of the hour, it's not just immediately over. There's stuff that has to be done. If anything, you got to hang up your headphones. You got to turn off your equipment. You got to go to the door. You got to go to your car. You got to start it. 1, 2, 3. Put it in D. Drive out of the driveway. Then you got to get to the airport. You got to park your car. You got to walk in. You got to get on the plane. The plane's it would have been difficult to make that 12:37 flight. It's a private flight, but it would have been difficult to get off the ground by 12:37. But if you're not hosting the second hour of the program, if instead of working on the program until 11 o'clock, you only work till 10 o'clock, well, then a flight getting off the ground by 11:37 isn't that big of a deal. You could make that flight. So I raised the issue. The reason I paused that part of the video, I raised the possibility that the second hour of the Charlie Kirk show on the morning of September 10th being pre-recorded is a big deal. It's a big deal because it allows Andrew to move without being noticed. People would have noticed if it was a live show and he wasn't on it. But if it's pre-recorded, nobody knows where he is. He could be at home. He could be in the car. He could be at the airport. Nobody knows. Again, this would have taken foreknowledge. He would have had to know about this. But I raise the issue and suggest let's just log that information in our head. Let's think about that. Let's keep it in mind. And let's see if there's anything else we hear that becomes relatively important for the rest of the interview. I suggest there is. Now, before I accidentally hit play, while the screen is not up, I will pull it up and then we'll get going.
He's texting me on his way and he's going over talking points about polygamy because he's going to Utah and why is monogamy important. And we're just rapid fire. These are our thoughts on why monogamy is advanced societal tech and it directs
the killer app of Western civilization.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It directs male energies in the right direction, societal building, all these things. And that was about, I think I had it. It was like 33 minutes before he was killed.
So he's texting with Charlie Kirk up to the moment. Basically, Charlie Kirk takes the stage. Charlie Kirk takes the stage around noonish. The event was scheduled to start at noon. He passes away. The big bang is heard at 12:23, excuse me, which means the last text, if Andrew Kolvet's being accurate here, would have taken place at 11:50 a.m. Utah time, 10:50 a.m. Pacific time. 10:50 a.m. Pacific time, they have their last exchange. Now, I was always under the impression that Charlie Kirk was a smart guy and he was able to do all this college touring by himself, but apparently between Josh Hammer and Andrew Kolvet, we're learning that Charlie actually didn't know what he was talking about. He required Andrew Kolvet to give him talking points about Mormons and the LDS church and polygamous marriage. And he required Josh Hammer the night before the event to give him talking points on foreign policy, our greatest ally, theological things. I mean, it's a really weird thing that everybody's contact with Charlie Kirk, their last contact with Charlie Kirk is telling him what to say. Almost gives you the idea that his entire existence was just people telling him what to say. But 33 minutes, that number wasn't lost on me either, ladies and gentlemen. 33 hours to catch the killer, 33 minutes for my last text. I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt on this one. I don't know why, but I am. All right. Now, let's see what happens next, ladies and gentlemen. What happens when he finds out What has happened in Orem, Utah?
And I'm sitting there at my desk. I'm answering a couple calls, emails, and I got a call from a girl on our team. She was in this desperate, you could hear it in her voice, and she said, they shot Charlie. They shot Charlie. I was like, who shot Charlie? What? What? Is he okay? Is he going to live? Like instantly, that's where I'm like, and she just said, I don't know. I was like, how bad was it? She was like, it looked pretty bad, but I don't know. It was quick. And immediately I just, shell-shocked, completely shell-shocked. And I kind of immediately thought I have to do something, like people are going to look to me for direction and answers. And I got nothing. And so I log on to X to see if anybody's talking about it yet. And then I see it, that it's being just initially reported, no videos. And next thing I know, my phone, this is the part I'll never forget.
This is the part he'll never forget. Where have we heard that before? This is the part I'll never forget. Let me take you back in time just a moment, because we just found out the part that Andrew Kolvet will never forget. Is he the only one who had a part that we'll never forget? Let me just, if I can just amuse me for a moment, because there's someone else who had a part he'll never forget. Who was that? It's our friend Blake Neff Speed. He had a part he would never forget.
There. And truthfully, I will never forget what I saw, because
he'll never forget. Why can't they just accept that we understand this is a big deal? Why do you have to tell us you'll never forget? This is before Blake does this, right? This is the part I'll never forget. I just thought that was too rich to pass up. Thanks, Blake. Appreciate your time on the program tonight. We're done with you now. We don't need you anymore. Blake. It was nice. It was a wonderful experience having you, but we no longer require your services. Oh no, I've lost him. Oh no, I've lost our friend. What did I do with him? I knew that was going to happen. There's a thing that happens with my computer. If I share a full screen over the top of a full screen, sometimes I lose it. Oh well, I can just pull it back up. I know the timestamp. All right, let me pull this video back up. Okay, this is the part he will never forget, ladies and gentlemen. Oh. You thought it was going to happen, didn't you? No. I'm getting better. I'm getting better at my old age.
I log on to X to see if anybody's talking about it yet. And then I see it, that it's being just initially reported, no videos. And next thing I know, my phone, this is the part I'll never forget, because my phone starts just bzz, 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 text, phone call. My phone is literally, the next day it stopped working. I had gotten so many.
Wait, the next day, what happened? You're telling me the day after? I could not have heard that right. Andrew, will you repeat yourself?
My phone is literally, the next day it stopped working.
Is there anybody on earth buying that story? Has anybody ever gotten so many texts that your phone stopped working? I got to throw this one away. Stopped working. Huh? What? Your phone stopped working? Because you got a bunch of your phone rang? It's a phone, Andrew. It rings. That's what they do. Your phone doesn't break when it rings. It rings because that's the purpose of a phone. The next day, my phone just stopped working. I think it's the only phone in the history of Apple that's ever stopped working because it got text messages and phone calls. It's unbelievable, guys. And you'll never believe this. The day after the biggest event I've ever been involved in. The day after a very suspicious murder of my boss, the day after I had to do a pre-record of hour 2, the day after I saw Erika on the tarmac, even though she wasn't supposed to be there, I fell into her arms, you see, and allegedly she didn't arrive. I didn't arrive for an hour and a half after her, but that's irrelevant because I fell into her arms. But the next day, after all this weirdness persists, dadgum phone went dead. Just stopped working. It's the darndest thing I've ever seen happen. No, officer, I don't have my phone from the night of the Big Bang. It stopped working. Convenient, obviously. Would you accept this from Cash Patel? Cash Patel's alleged to have done this or that, and he said, my phone stopped working. I had to get rid of it. I had to get a new one. Would you accept this from the guy that owned the island down there in the U.S. Virgin Islands, the Einstein guy? Would you accept that? Oh, yeah, I would love to turn over my phone and show you all the text, but my phone stopped working, see? It's the most darndest thing I've ever seen. Don't have it anymore. Stopped working. Would you accept it from Mikey McCoy? Would you accept it from Blake Neff? Would you accept it from Rob McCoy? Would you accept it from Elizabeth McCoy? Would you accept it from Erika Kirk? Would you accept it from Dan Flood, Brian Harpole, Rick Cutler? Would you accept it from Tyler Robinson? Oh, I'm sorry, officer. My phone quit working. Had to throw it away. That's the craziest thing I've ever seen. He's the king, dude. This guy is the king of preempting stuff. The whole team is, really. They realize they've got a problem on their hands because they listen to the police scanners and find that somebody's hanging out the car. They're like, oh, yeah, I was holding Brian Harpole. He was about to fall out. I just had to hold him the whole time. It was crazy. Andrew, buddy, baby. Ain't buying it. Ain't buying it, oh boy. Phones ring. That's what they do. They're designed to ring and buzz. And nevertheless, we persist.
I had gotten so many phone calls and so many texts. And it was, I mean, I can't even tell you, it was thousands upon thousands of texts. Some people saying, I'm so sorry, or like, tell me it's not true, or is he all right? And then just a lot of reporters going, can you confirm that Charlie Kirk has been shot? And I'm like, just these heartless, this is from such and such outlet. Like we're trying to confirm if, and I'm just thinking, this is like one of my best friends in the world, like my brother and my business partner. And
were you aware they had a business together? I was not. This is the first I've heard. I was unaware until he just uttered that Charlie Kirk and Andrew Kolvet had a business together. I know Andrew had the ATK Enterprises where he contracted allegedly, I guess, with TPUSA, and they had some sort of a contractual independent contractor arrangement. He didn't actually work at TPUSA, I don't think. I don't know whether that's lawful or appropriate or what, but that's allegedly the relationship they had. Same as Tyler Boyer. Strangely enough, all their top executives don't actually work there, but that's neat. That's a different discussion for a different day. We'll talk about that another day. We'll talk another day of the weirdness that nobody actually works at TPUSA. Everybody's just a contractor. We'll talk about that another day. But was anybody aware they had a business together? He's his business partner? First I've heard of it.
And what are you supposed to do in this moment when they want to know if they can confirm it, and you're like, I don't even know what the truth is. So
how long did it take before you knew he had died?
There was I don't know, I want to say probably 30 or 40 minutes.
Okay.
So 30 or 40 minutes later, Andrew gets the news that Charlie Kirk has passed away. That's 12:53 to 1:03 p.m. Utah time. That was well before the rest of us. And I think after that time, it was after that time that we get the news that he's stable, that he's stable but critical. Then we get news a little later that they've got a heartbeat. I still can't reconcile all of those facts, why they were misleading people, because these notes allegedly were coming out of TPUSA. Why are they telling the world Charlie's stable? Why don't they just not give any information? Why would you lie to people? Why are they telling people they got a heartbeat? Why give any information? Why lie to people? But around 1 o'clock or before, we're told that the TPUSA team, or at least their high-ranking contractors, have been told that Charlie Kirk had passed away. He was no longer with us. So what does our good friend Andrew do in response?
So there was a
So
report.
fast.
There was a report. Yeah, it was before. I knew before Trump put the Truth Social out, and I remember feeling grateful that he put that out because I remember having my computer up because I'm supposed to message this.
Yep.
And I remember like it was literally that's like one of those scenes in the movies where you have the first sentence and you don't know what to say next. And I kept deleting, and then I was extraordinarily grateful. I was funny because I got a call from some reporter. I think he was trying to take a swipe at the president for sending off that. He was like, "Did he coordinate that with you?" And it's like, well, no. And I'm so glad he just ripped the Band-Aid and said it. But yeah, I had heard that he was pronounced dead in the hospital, and that Erika had gotten the call basically, and then I flew straight to Provo just to, I just felt like I needed to go.
That's a weird expression. I flew straight to Provo. Did he? Did he fly straight to Provo? Because straight to Provo can mean one of two things. And for our friends across the pond in the continental states, or even the little tiny island floating up there in the North Atlantic, our British friends, they use straight differently than we do. But here in the United States, like straight away means right now. I flew straight to Provo. I went immediately to Provo. So that's one use of the word straight. Another way is without stopping anywhere else. I just went straight there. I don't think either are possible. Again, I point you to the flight summary that we talked about a little bit ago. Do I still have it up? I can pull it up. There were really only a couple of options at this point. I want that. I'll get rid of that. Pull it up again. There are only a couple of options. So option one is, what in the world why is that happening? It's like jumping into the same, let me just not put it anywhere close to it. There. There are only a couple of options here at this point. There are only so many flights he could have taken to go straight into Provo, because I know every flight that went into Provo that day. The only two flights he could have taken are this bottom flight here from Santa Barbara to Provo. It did not leave until 3:10. I have out here Andrew's wife, but disregard my labels on the outside. Just accept that this is a flight he could have taken, this RG-1 872. That's one flight he could have taken. The only other flight he could have taken in is this N102 DZ, because there was no other flight that went into Provo that had passed through Santa Barbara. And I know this RG Y872 doesn't have to pass through Santa Barbara. But this Scottsdale plane, notice this final gold one right here, this N560TW. This Santa Barbara to Scottsdale has never been explained. No one has yet explained who flew on this flight right here. That flight right there remains a mystery. Someone took that as one plane. It went in the morning from Scottsdale to Provo, from Erika's home, Charlie's home, but Charlie was already in Salt Lake City, so it wasn't him. Somebody from Scottsdale flew to Provo in the morning. After that plane landed in Provo, it then went to Santa Barbara. There's only one person in this story who lives in Santa Barbara, and that is Andrew Kolvet. So if it's just a weird coincidence that a plane happened to run a triangle pattern that day from Scottsdale to Provo, from Provo to Santa Barbara, from Santa Barbara to Scottsdale, if that's just the weirdest set of coincidences of all time, I refuse to believe it. I think this is a TPUSA related flight, and I demand to know who were on these flights. But for an explanation from them, I feel like I'm free to speculate. And the way I'm speculating is that Andrew was on this third flight. And so he flew into Scottsdale at 1:44 p.m. That would have meant he was on the plane when he found out Charlie died. I believe that. And then he lands at 1:44. He makes his way over to N102DZ, and he flies on that Gulfstream 5, that green flight down here, second from the bottom. That's the flight I believe he came in on. It's the only flight that allows him to fall into Erika's arms on the tarmac. And that's the way Candace describes what Andrew told her, that Andrew fell into Erika's arms on the tarmac. If instead of Andrew being on that flight, if that was Erika and Andrew didn't come in until 4:36, there's no Erika around to fall into her arms. So I just refuse to believe Andrew was lying about that, because I think that slipped out. But I don't want to go back into the flights. But there's no flight that goes straight from Santa Barbara to Provo in any kind of quick fashion, because he found out at basically 1 o'clock Utah time, which would have been about noon Pacific time. You tell me he just hung around for 4 hours? He said he flew straight there. No, I don't believe that. I think he was moving the whole time. I think he's being dishonest. So that's the fly straight to Provo. So I'm going to skip forward a little bit, pass over some of this other stuff, and get to Erika Kirk demanding the Charlie Kirk show continue, which is weird to me. Listen to the timing of when he says Erika decided the Charlie Kirk show absolutely had to go on. It's a weird story.
You know, they will not silence my husband's voice. You have to keep the show going. And, you know, JD Vance had flown to Utah to pick us up. So we were all in Phoenix. And by the way, you know, JD Vance, I can't say enough good things about him and Usha and the way they've comported themselves and the support they've been to us and to Erika in this time. And that transfer, I can't tell you how much that meant to us. It truly was just an amazing gesture to see Air Force 2 fly down into Utah, pick up Charlie, and take him back home. It was really amazing. So we're all in Phoenix that Friday, and we decided we're going to host the show.
I played all this for a reason. First, I thought it was weird that within a day or two of Charlie Kirk passing, Erika decides, no, we've got to do the podcast. I mean, of all the things you have to worry about, lady, that's what was on your mind. I've already established she's weird. Candace is going to savage her in a couple days. Just stand by. We're not worried about her today. We're not worried about her. But I let it play for a second, so you heard a little bit about the next day. So that's September 10th, a Wednesday. Charlie Kirk passes away. September 11th, Air Force 2 flies in. This is the Vice President of the United States. He flies in. He picks up the body in Salt Lake City. They fly it to Phoenix. They land in Phoenix with the body. Then the following day, they decide they should do the Charlie Kirk show. You know what Andrew doesn't have at this point, according to him? Not according to me, according to him. The spokesperson for TPUSA, the one who's supposed to be coordinating all this stuff with everybody, the one who's supposedly texting with Candace and Tucker, it should have been you, it could have been you. You know who does it? He doesn't have a phone. His phone quit working. Isn't that weird to you? The TPUSA spokesperson, his phone's out. I thought that was strange. I don't know if rich people can, they do like this thing where they can multiply the fishes and loaves and the phones. I don't know how that works. I thought that was strange. Now, we're going to get into the last little bit of this here that I want to play. I'm not going to play too much more of this, but I want to get into the next little bit because it starts to get to my thesis of how Andrew has been, the thesis of my explanation for why Andrew has been operating the way he's been operating since the Big Bang. I want to see if you guys catch it. It's something that hit me like a ton of bricks when I finally figured it out.
Do you want me to go conspiracy theories
Either
first, or yeah? So
let's start with the conspiracy theories actually, and then sort of get bigger from there.
You know, I think that you're right though that I think they are connected. There's been obviously people want to know what happened, and I don't begrudge them wanting to get to the bottom of it. I also don't begrudge them having a sort of distrust for authority and a distrust for institutional authority and governmental authority, because we have been lied to about things. And so I understand it on some level. Like, genuinely don't begrudge people that. And I think it's, in a weird way, a testament to Charlie's impact and his importance. And so I have trained myself to see the conspiracy theories as a testament to the love for Charlie.
Just for people who don't know all the conspiracy theories, right? Like, the theories, you're referencing the fact that some of the theories are basically like, obviously someone on Charlie's team must have set him up.
Or
right?
he was betrayed, or, you know, and I do my best. And this is why I'm so grateful that I have faith, because I'm able to pray for people that are taking that energy and directing it at people Charlie loved, his closest friends. And that gives me a lot of, I think, an anchor in a pretty tumultuous storm otherwise. And I also watched Charlie deal with so many lies about him. And I watched him over the years learn when to stay silent, when to speak into things, when to correct, when to be strategically absent on a conversation. And this is where the two subjects bleed a little bit together, where you have a lot of people that are now part of canonizing Charlie Kirk, but in life were either, you know, they were not particularly friendly, or they were outright hostile.
Okay. So duly noted. I mean, I find myself in that. I wasn't outright hostile to Charlie Kirk, but I didn't love his foreign policy, and his foreign policy had kind of become his defining stance over the last few years of his life, and I wasn't wild about it. Did you notice anything missing when they talked about conspiracy theories? Was there a name subtly missing from the conversation? Because when you think Charlie Kirk and conspiracy theories, what obvious name comes to the surface? There's a name Ross Douthat was fishing for when he raised the question of conspiracy theories. I know I cut off his question, but by Charlie's answer, he repeated the question, so you guys heard it. He raised the issue of conspiracy theories, and Candace's name never fell out of Andrew Kolvet's mouth. I think that was a huge miss, Ross Douthat believes. And so when I go back, Ross Douthat's going to say, hey, obviously you're talking about Candace Owens, right? How did you miss her?
Yeah. And so, I mean, I think the most explicit one where there has been sort of really clear attempts to sort of claim his mantle and his legacy for completely different perspectives is the issue of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously that is also entangled with the conspiracy theory stuff, because some of the most prominent conspiracy theories have involved Israel. And I have a general question about, again, like, I assume this was one of the issues that you guys were talking about before he was killed.
Of course.
But then there's also the specific reality that Candace Owens, who is, you know, one of the most popular podcasters in America, was Charlie's friend. She is the leading voice for many of these theories. And so I'm curious what your view of her arc since his killing is.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to spare you the next 7 minutes of this interview. But I will assure you, Andrew talks basically uninterrupted for the next 6 or 7 minutes of this interview. And why I'm sparing you is because I can summarize it in one sentence. he doesn't mention Candace. And I think that's important. Ross Douthat basically says, all right. Raise the issue of conspiracy theories. I figured you'd run off on Candace. You didn't. You talked vaguely about conspiracy theories. You even said that you thought some of the people who were talking about conspiratorial things relative to Candace Owens, relative to Israel might be excuse me, I'm sorry. His answer was essentially, I find the people who are pursuing the conspiracy theories might be doing it out of a love for Charlie. That summarized Andrew's answer. I think the people who are doing these conspiracy theories might be doing it out of a love for Charlie. If I'm reading between the lines, what he's saying is, I know you're talking about Candace, and I think she might be doing it out of a love for Charlie. So then Ross Douthat hears that and says, wait a minute, I work for the New York Times. I'm supposed to bash Candace, and he didn't. So let me just be blunt. The conspiracy theories obviously arise out of our greatest ally. The leading contender in the country against our greatest ally might be Candace Owens, at least the most popular one who's the leading contender. So what do you think about her? I'll play a little bit of it, but I can assure you he basically ignores it for 6 or 7 straight minutes. And I'll show you that by Ross Douthat's reply. But here is the direct next sentence. Next
I would say when it comes to the issue of Israel, it was certainly something that we wrestled with a lot.
He goes right past Candace. We wrestled with Israel. It's a tough thing. A lot of people have good opinions on it either side. I don't want to spoil the whole surprise. I don't want to play the whole interview. But I will fast forward until Ross Douthat basically says, hey, you ignored my question. I'm trying to get you to bash Candace and you're refusing to do so. What's up? Watch this.
Going into the end of the Trump era. So start with Israel. And I notice you didn't answer my question about Candace Owens. I think Candace Owens is a clear example of just how much potential division there is on the right.
That's evidence that Andrew, in 6 minutes, he was asked specifically about Candace Owens, and he specifically refused to attack her. He didn't even mention her. He completely ignored her. You don't believe me? Go play the interview. He completely ignored her. He didn't talk about her. He talked about Israel. He talked about wrestling with the topic of our greatest ally within internal things. He talked about how difficult it was on college campuses because so many of the young people had strong opinions on it, what the differences of opinions were, where he thought they were born out of. He went to this long explanation, but he didn't go after Candace. The door was open on 2 separate occasions, and he didn't go after her. So does he go after her this time?
Right now, where, yes, as you were suggesting, you could see a kind of stable middle ground that reassesses the U.S.-Israel relationship in some ways. But in practice, you just have a lot of absolutism in the pro-Israel camp. And then you have an anti-Israel camp with Owens as a prime example that has just veered all the way very quickly into anti-Semitism.
So that's what we call in the law a leading question. When you can't get your witness to answer the open-ended question, you just answer it for them. Normally, the judge will smack your hand, but here they don't because there's no judge. So he's like, look, I brought you on to bash Candace. You're not bashing Candace, so I'll do it on my own. How does our good friend Andrew Kolvet respond?
So maybe start with her. What has happened to Candace Owens?
He will not let him go off of this. Now look at Andrew's face. Stare into those eyes. What do you think he's going to say? It's clear what it is Ross Douthat wants him to say. He just told him what he wants him to say in the question. Watch how he responds. This is very, very, very telling. Watch how he responds.
I don't know.
I don't know. Does that sound very TPUSA like to you? Does that sound like Erika? Does that sound like Erika on Barry Weiss? I don't know. I don't know, Ross Douthat, what's happened to Candace Owens. I know this is the third time you've tried to get me to bash her, to call her a conspiracy theorist, to say she's ruining Charlie's legacy, to say Candace is attacking Erika as a grieving widow, to say she's destroying the lives of the children and those closest, that she's just trying to work for Democrats, that she's just trying to do the bidding of somebody else. I know this is the third time, but I'm not going to answer you this time either.
Is the truth. I know that, I've known Candace for, I guess, I want to say probably 2019, I think, is when I first met Candace. And she was always, very opinionated. She was always, I would say, a fiery personality. And she, for a while, she existed within the Turning Point ecosystem. And she just simply, grew to the point where it made more sense for her, I think, in her eyes, to sort of, do her own thing outside of the Turning Point ecosystem. And, she's obviously a tremendous just talent, right? And from a pure oratory standpoint.
Does this sound like somebody who's bashing Candace as a conspiracy theorist? Does this sound like anything else you've heard out of TPUSA? Out of the Fed slop? Does this sound like anything you've heard out of any of these people? Rob McCoy, Blake Neff, Mikey McCoy, Erika Kirk. I thought this was a pretty telling answer. And he goes on, ladies and gentlemen. He's not done.
And she, you've seen pictures of Charlie and Candace at in Israel for the embassy moving ceremony.
Now, that was interesting to me. I want to pause right here for a second. That was interesting to me. I did not know Candace was in Israel with Charlie for the embassy moving ceremony. Because you know what that means? Because they made a big deal of this, that the first time Erika Kirk laid eyes on young Charles Kirk, it was when he was standing in line in Jerusalem. She spotted him from across the hallway, across the park, or wherever they were. And then years later, when they were introduced, oh, I remember that guy. Tall, dark, and handsome. I saw you on the streets of the city of peace. Oh, yes. I saw you. That means Candace was with him. She also saw Candace. I think it's great. What? It adds to the lore. Are you kidding me? This is amazing. This is amazing. It inserts Candace right in the middle of the love story between Erika Kirk and Charlie Kirk. Their first introduction, their first sighting, love at first sight, right? Their first sighting, there's this chemistry, is this wafting through the air. Hey, that man's amazing. Candace. I thought it was great. I thought it was a great little introduction there. Back to Andrew Kolvet. Sorry, sir. I did not mean to interrupt you.
And they moved it to Jerusalem. So, when I was interacting with her more frequently, there wasn't a question about Israel.
Do you or your team have interactions with her? No.
Again, he is doing everything he can to be like, she's smart. She's really well spoken. She runs a tight ship. She knows what she wants. I don't really talk to her about our greatest ally. Huh? This is a very interesting take. This is not something they publicize. This is not something Andrew talks about publicly, apparently.
I interacted with her in the immediate aftermath of, what happened with Charlie. I didn't realize that it was going to be this, that we were going to be the subject of a daily streaming show where, our own characters were impugned or that we were somehow implicated in a betrayal conspiracy or something. I just assumed that Charlie,
she was his friend.
Yeah. And she was obviously worried and she was, traumatized as we all were. And, I had kept in contact with Candace, intermittently over the years. So I thought I should call her and be her point of contact when everything happened. and she was obviously distraught, and I felt for her. I knew she I had no foresight that it was going to become what it's become. But
and for those, again, for people who are watching or listening who don't know exactly, like, there is constant programming on her very, very popular podcast that is, it is a kind of conspiratorial drama about the betrayal and murder of Charlie Kirk, in which Israel features prominently, people close to Charlie, right, France. But you haven't, like, called her up. Someone doesn't call her up and say, what the hell is going on?
I believe there's been one contact in relatively recent days. But other than that,
relatively recent days. Keep in mind, this was early December. This was 3 months after Charlie Kirk passed away. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do you like that, Andy.
I mean,
there we go. They were still talking 3 months after the fact, apparently. There's been one contact, in the last day or two, recent days. Guys, I got to be honest. Even in light of this daily assault on Erika Kirk, even this in light of the daily assault on, he must have been betrayed by someone close to him, even the daily assault on Mikey McCoy and Rob McCoy, Andrew's giving her a pretty free pass, if we're being honest. And he said, well, at first, I anticipated that it would kind of go away quickly, and it has not. Well, not only has it not gone away, you're still not upset about it. You're still not arguing about it. It's not gone away, and you don't seem upset, Andrew. You guys, I don't know what conclusion you're drawing here. I know what conclusion I've drawn as a result of this interview. Or I know which way it's pushed me. I think I was right when I was calling into the screen before saying, hey, buddy, you're close. Why don't you come on over to the light side here? I know we don't pay as well. We don't have $100 million rolling through our organization, but don't you put that life of crime behind you, big boy? Won't you come on out into the light? Get back in touch with your Christian roots. This does not seem like somebody who buys the TPUSA narrative. This almost seems like somebody who's rooting for Candace. I can't say that. I don't know that. I've not talked to the man. And I'll be honest, I've not talked to Candace about this. So I can't say that this is like me using information. I don't have any information from her on this. I have just what I saw in this interview, and I've only played you clips. There's a whole rest of the interview to play. Like, we're on minute 35. This goes to hour 10, and we've only played, maybe less than half of what the first 35 minutes had. It's pretty stellar. It's pretty stellar. I don't know what to make of this, guys. I don't know what to make of this. I mean, I do, but I'm scared of the conclusion, to be honest with you. My operating assumption 3 or 4 months ago was that Andrew Kolvet was a good guy inside TPUSA. That was my operating assumption. That he was working from the inside to try to solve what happened. Along the way, I became convinced I was not right about that I had been mistaken, and I had misread Andrew, and that I thought Andrew was a bad guy, that I thought Andrew was in on it, and Andrew knew what was going to happen. I even entered this interview, watching the Ross Douthat interview, with my flight chart that indicated he must have been in on it, because he would have had to take an earlier flight. He would have had to fly straight there. But now I wonder, I just wonder. Now, there are some things that make me question that hypothesis. The broken phone. Ooh, my phone broke. That's weird. That's what you would say if you were in on it. Honestly, no offense, Andrew, but that's someone who was in on it would say their phone broke. And somewhat, but again, if let's just think through a set of facts here that might make sense. If they made Andrew get on an earlier flight, if they told him, hey, run a thing, we're going to have you come to Scottsdale, and then he lands in Scottsdale and he learns that Charlie Kirk has been hit, and he's like, uh-oh, I look guilty because I'm not where I'm supposed to be. And then now he has to fly to Provo, and he's on a plane that's supposed to be Erika's plane. He gets there and he learns that now I'm in a real bind here. Now he starts looking at his phone. He thinks, oh no, this is what they were talking about the whole time. He starts putting it together in his head, and his phone looks really guilty. Throws it in a river. I don't know what he does. And now he's caught in this, oh gosh, if I blow the whistle, I look guilty. I look like I was in on it because that's just a set of facts. I don't know if that's true or not. But I see a scenario in which Andrew was not in on it. Whether or not he was made to look like he was in on it to keep him shut up, I don't know. Or whether he's just scared for his life, so he's shutting up, I don't know. But the whole thing's weird. The whole interview's weird. His deep refusal to go after Candace after multiple incitements was more than I could ignore. That said, he also scheduled the interview with Caterpillar Eyes the day before. He kept Charlie awfully busy that day before. He didn't do the second hour of the show after Charlie told him he wanted him to host the show the next day. So that's a little weird too. So there's a lot going on here. I don't know what to make of it. I can't sit here and say I've got firm conclusions on what happened. I know definitively Andrew was or was not involved. I know definitively Andrew is feeding information out or he's not feeding information out. He's cooperating. He's not cooperating. He's a mole. He's not a mole. I can't say any of that, but I can say that when I watched that interview, I kept going, holy mackerel. Whoa. I might be reading this guy all wrong. So I don't know. I don't know if that's what it is or not. I can't say for certain. What it is. What I can say for certain is that I don't know that I've ever had to go to the bathroom this bad in my entire life. I thought about playing 3 more minutes of that interview, even though I don't need to play it. I thought about playing 3 more minutes just to run off and use the restroom. But I'm not going to do that. I wouldn't do that to you. I'm not that kind of guy. But I do want to run through some of these chats. One of my favorite parts is get to talk to you folks. Baron, do you think Charlie sent text to Candace Owens about his marriage age and threats before the Big Bang? I don't know what that means. I wish I did. But I think Charlie sent text to Candace Owens about his marriage age and threats before the Big Bang. The threats, no. The marriage age, I don't know what that means. Oh, about his marriage. Oh, I don't know. I haven't talked to her about that. That seems awfully personal. I don't want to ask her about that. But thank you. I know you watched Candace's EK series preview. Drop us some hints, Counselor. I played it. I played the whole preview. That's all I got. I've not talked to her about it. You got everything I've got. I love these gifted memberships because someone sent or put a copy on there like, oh my gosh, I had no idea this was what the membership was about. They're wild. Love you, Baron. Found you from Ian, but have listened daily since CO became a member last week because I just had to know what you talked about with the members. No regrets for super chat as well. Well, welcome to the program. I love you too. Adam, Life is Driving Son was wearing a maroon on Big Bang. Yeah, we talked about that. Coach episode number 1 caught this from 4 months ago. 6 minutes in, answers your question true. I don't know how that answers my question, but I was aware of that. We talked about it. It was a 3-button Henley. It resembled the exact shirt, which is not a very common shirt, that Tyler Robinson was wearing in his, I don't know if it was a dorm room or his bedroom or something. We went through that whole thing. I had Adam from Life is Driving on the program. It was nuts. It was nuts. He was angry. He's a mad little boy. Thank you for all you do. I think there might have been a midget horse. when he was on the program. It might have been under his table. He was under his little Che Guevara shirt. He was riding a midget horse. Do you think they broke Charlie's neck inside the SUV when they carried him or when Dan Flood jumped on him, Baron? Just sheer speculation and conjecture. I think it's possible, just to ensure he was thoroughly finished off, they could have done it inside the SUV. I don't know. Oh, this is a good question. Have they sat Erika down and asked her what will happen if she's no longer available? That's a great question. That's a great question. You mentioned Philip Goldsberry Jr. as in the know. In your opinion, I'm a daily watcher of you, Candace, Coach Ian. How do I not know who he is? His Insta has been deleted. Did he do the memorial lights, sound, fireworks? He was the sound guy on the day of the Big Bang. He had the 1776 hat on. He was sitting directly to Charlie's left. He was down on the ground. The sound equipment, for whatever reason, was very low that day and over the table. Typically, the sound equipment was actually on his right and right there next to him where it could be seen. For whatever reason, on the day of the Big Bang, they had it in a completely new location. It was down where it could not be seen, behind a table, and Philip Goldsberry was leaning over it for the entire 10 or 12 minutes that Charlie was on the stage. And then right before the Big Bang, Philip goes, like half a second before, like he winces before the Big Bang. Might have been wiping his nose. I don't know. We've played it on this program, though. Thank you. My brother from across the pond. It's my 18th wedding anniversary today to my beautiful wife, Pam. Thanks for all you do. Christ is King. Christ is King indeed. Rich and Pam, I hope you guys have a wonderful 18th anniversary. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Might end up with 8. Hey, Baron, Bear Run DMC. Nefarious was amazing. I thought so. I thought it was a great movie. Any other spiritual-based movie recommendations? Coach, please pick at least one dumbbell. I kid. I don't know what that last part means. Other spiritual movies? Put me on the spot. I don't know. I do know. There was a movie. Hold on. It was called Father Stew. That would be the other one I would watch. Father Stew. Thanks for that question. A lie can travel halfway around the world while the truth is still putting on its shoes. MT? Mike Tyson? I don't think it's Mike Tyson. It sounds a little more eloquent than Mike Tyson. I imagine you, Candace Owens, and dozens of others have had to buy many sneakers. Here's a little dono for a new pair because we are Forrest Gumping with y'all clear across the globe. Well, thank you. I will put that to good use, Monica. Thank you. Very generous and kind donation. Yeah, the attacks. Someone emailed me tonight and said there was some low budget podcaster online, like while I was getting ready, and he was like, he's attacking you. And I was like, who is this guy? Never heard of this guy. And I looked online and there are like 12 people watching. You're not going to build your brand on me. I'm not biting. Sorry, guys. How do you feel about the situation from a legal expert standpoint? I don't know if I'm a legal expert. To be an expert, you got to be 50 miles from home and have a briefcase. Well, and I don't know what situation you're talking about. Are you talking about the Tyler Robinson case? Are you talking about Andrew Kolvet? Are you talking about Erika Kirk missing the Bible 365 podcast or scheduling one 9 days after the Big Bang? What are we talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. I wish I did. Man, I feel like just like Tyrone from Chappelle's Show. Y'all got any more of them Candace Owens episodes? Y'all get more of them Candace Owens episodes? I can't wait longer. The anticipation is unnerving. LOL, or I'm just dramatic. You're a little dramatic. I mean, just among us boys, you're a little dramatic. Or you're a girl. I can't see your picture. It's too small. But that's okay. You're allowed to be dramatic. This is a safe space. We don't criticize each other. Not a Philadelphia Mint, Patriots. Not a Philadelphia Mint. I know you said you're going to start from the beginning, and I commend you for that. I think part of this includes the medical examiner, the coroner, and all the doctors and nurses and staff who were involved. Details, thoughts, Crisis King. Crisis King, indeed. I agree, and we will begin we will go back and look. We will go back and look. The medical examiner, as you recall, and I might have to go pull my old episodes because they've ruined Google Trends, but the medical examiner, the coroner, The doctors, all in the trends, all over it. And there had to be a reason. And I remember asking Kash Patel, will you find out who did this? Who was looking up your nurses and doctors and medical examiners? Thank you for that contribution, by the way. The only illness EK could have that would explain anything she said or done would be stage 3 syphilis, causing neurodegenerative changes. God. I don't think that's right. Eric, I'm on your side on this one. I think. I don't know. Maybe that's why. Yeah. There's more than enough women in the world calling out EK. Women understand women, and they can't stand each other. Time to really pay attention. I'll say this. I know very few men initially, your humble host included, who were even remotely willing to go near a grieving widow. Almost none. We were all sitting on the sidelines looking at each other like, all the female podcasters were having all the fun. Bashing her over the head, hitting her with sticks, and I was like, I'm not going near that woman. I'm not talking about her. And then the women, the commenters start coming out of the woodwork and thought, I lost my husband 12 years ago and still don't smile like that. What the hell's wrong with this lady? And I thought, okay, the women know. So it took me a couple of months, honestly, to get on board, but the women know. The women instinctively know. And that's when the men came around and thought, no, there's something wrong here, severely, seriously wrong. Hey, Baron, been watching for about a month, and I'm so impressed. Well, thank you. Our wit and laugh are so contagious. You're complimenting yourself? You must be right. Became a member tonight. Go Max. Go Max. We will go Max together. Delightful Pam. And apparently you have great wit and laugh. So we will laugh and be witty together. We shall be witty. Those members episodes are nuts, though. I can warn you guys. We talk weird stuff. You're not going to get a dose of what you get here. Idea for an opening statement. The Dan Markle case in Tallahassee. FSU law professor killed by hitmen hired by ex-wife's family. The Adelsons. Fascinating case and right up your alley. Yeah, but like tonight's show was about reopening a cold case and solving a murder by going back to the basics. This is a foundational case study used in almost every investigative course. It's a foundational case. Now, evidence preservation, what can go wrong if evidence isn't preserved. It have to have the right hook. Like every opening has to have a hook. You don't just tell a story. I mean, I'll look at it, though. I'll look at it. Maybe I spoke too soon. I'll look at it. Baron, if you will, Titus, you gonna make me find Titus? I'm not even gonna open the paper. I'm going to the app for this one because I can search Titus. Make me find Titus. That's cruel. You did that just to make me look dumb, didn't you? I outthought you on this one. No, I don't have to flip pages for an hour. No, sorry, Bubsky. Already got it pulled up. Titus 1:4. To Titus. That's convenient. I guess that's why they named it Titus. My true child in our common faith, grace and peace from God the Father and Christ Jesus our Savior. Oh, 1:14, sorry. I was like, that wasn't very applicable to much, but I appreciate it. 14, excuse me. Instead of paying attention to Jewish myths and regulations of people who have repudiated the truth. You gave me half a sentence? I had to go back and read 13. You got a free verse out of me. That was funny. Stop using emojis in your super chat. Baron's like 67 years old. He can't see them. Now, that's a lot. There's a lot of truth to that. But then you followed it with an emoji I can't see. It's just a yellow circle. Coach called me 67, and instantly I started feeling older. Like I got a little hitch in my hip. My foot started hurting. I don't see as well. There's something psychological he did to me, and I don't know what it was. I was in great health before Coach called me 67. All of a sudden, I thought, do I act 67? Then I started feeling 67. Did you do an episode on statins? My dad takes one. No, just offhanded remarks, not medical advice. No, I'm not going to do one either. I was going to say, maybe I'll do an opening on statins, but I'm not going to do that because I cannot hold back when I get on that subject. Hi, Baron and Ray. The police reports on highway in this era of cell phones. Why isn't there any cell footage of a body hanging out of the car? Couldn't this have been pre-planned to throw everyone off and take police resources off track? Now, that last part I don't know about. I am a little weirded out we don't have footage, though. I mean, they were cop cars. They should have dash cams. Everybody else has a dash cam. Trust me, I'm on our city Facebook page, and it's just nothing but dash cam footage of people, like, tailgating. I'm like, come on, guys. I want to tell you, I got a notification for you on YouTube that I'm a top listener of Fleetwood Mac. I love them, too. Well, I'm in there with you. When I get my Spotify report, it's like you are 0.0110 of the listeners of Fleetwood Mac. I'm like, yeah, well, they're great. What can I say? Wendy, we'll be there together. If we ever get married, we'll do our, no, I'm not just kidding. What do you think is a group of conservatives and independents looking into this? Why do you think a group of conservatives and independents is looking into this? Strange the Dem leaders are not interested in discrediting TPUSA, those connected, impeachment, etc. I hadn't thought about that. Why aren't the Dems looking into this? I don't know. I have to put some thought into that. Good question. That's a good question when you really make me think and leave me kind of without an answer. That's a great question. I'm going to think about it, and I'm going to get an answer. Did you see that drunk speech Erika gave at the Chicago High School? It was insane. Rambling, slurring, nonsense. Danks has the video on YouTube. Yeah, I talked about that today with a friend of mine. It was a little rambly. The problem wasn't what she said as much as what she looked like. Why was she dressed like that? Girl, you're worth like $25 million. Buy some clothes that fit. What? I don't understand what she was doing. Like, where's your glittery pantsuit? Where's your Elvis suit? You left it at home? I mean, why are you wearing baggy jeans and chunky tinnies? And why did you have the bump that Fergie had on her head? Why were you wearing the Fergie bump? That's out of style, Erika. Bride of Charlie. This is going to be one hell of a horror show for all of us. I think it's great. I'm so glad she chose that title and that dark closing frame. Oh, it's great. I can't wait. Not that I'm rooting against poor Erika. Always had a feeling EK may not be the biological child of her parents and possibly an orphan or trafficked. Anyone else? It's crossed my mind. Except then I saw a birth announcement. So I don't know. So many swirling suspects. It's hard to wrap my head around who had the biggest motive and how they all were brought on board. What is your theory so far on who kicked this off? The Beebster to Don T to EK to TPUSA. I had this conversation with a friend of mine the other day too. Let me say this. Right now in the Pentagon, there are war plans with every conceivable country you can think of. Like, we got a war plan against Singapore, I guarantee you. It's drawn up, it's ready to go. All they got to do is dust it off, update it, and off. We'll be at war in 48 hours. Obviously, Iran, China, Russia, but even allies, France, Germany, England, they get squirrely. We got a plan. I promise you, it's already in the books. There are people whose sole jobs is to come up with war plans all day long. Brazil, Mexico. I mean, even if our maple syrup drinkers to the north get squirrely, we got a way to invade you guys. 54-40 or fight, buddy. We'll take all the livable land. Leave you up there floating around on icebergs. I think there's a similar thing with influential political people. There's probably a plan drafted up to take out just about everybody. They get too far off the road, particularly the influential ones. They're not operationalized very often. Just like we don't operationalize our war plans against China, but they exist. We don't operationalize our war plans against Russia, but they exist. We don't operationalize our war plans against Egypt or Australia or Canada or Mexico, but they exist. I promise you they exist. You're not going to let them invade you and go, oh, we should have thought of this. We should have come up with a plan before they came up. No, it doesn't work that way. We have a plan. There was a plan to take out Charlie Kirk. It has always existed. I'm just confident there was. Who operationalized it is your question. And I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the answer to that. First super chat. I sent a couple of emails and now know to join the live because I'm old and needed help. How to join the live. You're not that old, Kathy. Your name's Kathy. You can't be that old. Yay, please, members, use good grammar and complete words and names. I get lost. Oh. Yeah, I do too. Revelation 3:7-10. Mind blown, Coach. Coach was talking about the good book of Revelation. Coach is talking about our, what do we call that? I forget what, I heard somebody use the name of it, the colloquial name of it. 3:7-10. To the angel of the church in Philadelphia, I can't read on. Oh my gosh. They really talking about, I thought Coach just called him Philadelphia. I didn't know there was really a Philadelphia. The city of brotherly love. Do you think the TR could have been told his part is to be convicted and they will sneak him off and think we'll just assume he's in prison, and poor Erika, fake grief, wore her down finally. God bless. I don't know about Tyler Robbins. I mean, again, I think the way most patsies are recruited is they have them dead to rights on some crime that they don't want to go to prison for. Mishandling young people, for example. They don't want to go to prison for that. They're offered a chance to do their prison term for murder. And they're like, yeah, I'll have a better time in prison. People think I'm tough. I don't want people to think I'm, Diddy. But I don't know, man. I don't know. So hard to keep up these podcasts on UK time. Gutted Candace isn't on tonight. Needs sleep, so we'll up tomorrow. P.S. Millennium Gray hoodie. I don't know what Millennium Gray means, but it's a hoodie for sure. Hey, I don't feel bad for you though on UK time, because you people on UK time make me have to get up early to watch Formula One races because they're all at 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. your time. So let's just call it fair, okay? After your comment yesterday, our greatest ally will thus forth be known as having the napkin flag. Christ is king. That's because I'm old. I'm 67. I can't see the emojis. That's my fault. My fault. But Baron, you're the man. Are you familiar with the Utah Governor Cox CARES Act, alleged fraud case made public in June of 25, linked to Timpanogos Regional Hospital, possibly a link to the Charlie Kirk case? I'm not aware. Not aware. Please email me about it. realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. 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 Oh, wrong one. Sorry. Where'd it go? There it is. There you go. realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. I asked you this weeks ago if Erika secretly meant CK when she said, "That young man, I forgive him." Now that Candace has that specific quote on her latest video, thoughts? I don't have any. I wish I did. Sherwin-Williams High Tea. I see you guys still are complaining about my paint in the background. I'm working on it. I've made plans. I've got one thing I got to do before I get the paint. But the paint's coming. I mean, I think it's going to be in the next few weeks. We're going to have a totally different background back there. Now, when I mentioned to people that my plan is initially just to paint the part you can see and I'll work on the rest later, my wife was like, no, you will never get back to that. You are painting the whole thing or you're painting nothing. I was like, yeah, you're right. You're right. Guilty as charged. I know how that works. I started the first book you recommended about onions last night. Very interesting. Did I mention a book about onions? Oh, Saturn. Yes. Good book. My first time catching the live, but I can't continue watching. It's almost 2 a.m. I should sleep. Sending love from Estonia. Big in Estonia, too. No idea. Had no idea. Erika has Candacitis, the fear that naturally occurs in the guilty when you know that Candace Owens is coming for you. Oh, yeah. I would think Candacitis means you're like in love with her. You're inflamed when you're away from her. That's what I would think Candacitis is. My mother-in-law was widowed at 36 with 6 kids. 6 months to 13 years. She still is not fully recovered. She was catatonic for months. EK is vile for pretending to grieve. Yeah. Can I talk more about what I believe happened to his body? You keep saying you may or may not have been buried. I feel like you wouldn't say it. If you didn't have reason to believe, maybe I'm wrong. I honestly don't know. Like I'm like truly 50-50. Half the time I think they didn't bury him, did they? Because they asked her point blank, like, did you bury him? And she wouldn't answer. But then you have people who, and I've talked to them, they're like, no, he was buried. I know he was buried. I've talked to people who were there. I'm truly. If Barron doesn't pull a Barron, does YouTube hear it? That's a good question. Good question. JP Sears christened Erika's weirdness as fame-seeking behavior. Yeah, I think that's right. I like JP Sears. He's funny. I don't think CK would have slept in another room feeling the way he was feeling without a darn good reason. And then not to kiss her, GG, goodbye. Yeah, it's a big red flag, isn't it? After seeing EK's speech at the Illinois high school, do you think she's using drugs and alcohol? It was very telling. I used to get sick a lot when I drank. 7 years sober. We know she used to drink. Then she claimed she didn't drink. I've seen her drink. I've seen like videos of her hammered. Or drinking anyway. And being foolish and silly. So I think that, I mean, it's possible. I'll say this. When I drank, I had a fat face. There's video evidence on YouTube if you come across it. I'm not going to say she has a fat face because that's ugly, but she looks like she might throw a few back here and there. Let's get it out of the way. The paint the studio some color, replace some photos. Hoodie is wrong color, and I sent you 342 emails. All right, guys, show's over. We covered everything tonight. That's all of it. That's all of it. You just covered everything. I will say this. This is my favorite hoodie color, and I can't stand that you guys don't like it. It hurts my feelings. This is my default hoodie. This is my original Adidas hoodie. This is the first color I ever bought. So glad you watched my Andrew interview tip. I did. Very thankful for it. Thank you. Can we get a members talk about the cult, Moon Dreams talk, and maybe add a movie called Eyes Wide Shut? P.S. Shout out to A and G. We love watching you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I've never seen Eyes Wide Shut. I've seen clips of it. I've heard about it. I've read the plot summary on Wikipedia, but I've never actually sat down and watched the movie front to back. So maybe I could watch it and then we could talk about it. I mean, I feel like I know what it's about. The plot summary is pretty detailed. I bought Worlds in Collision and Hamlet's Mill today. I can't wait to get them and read them. Just trying to be a little more high IQ. Thanks for recommending. You're the best, Baron. Go Max. I'm doing my best over here. They're great books. Let me say this about Hamlet's Mill. Takes several chapters before it starts to click. So just if you're lost on the first 2 or 3 chapters, say, I just am going to commit to continuing. Once it clicks, you're like, oh, okay, I see what they're talking about. But it's written in an academic way. And so it takes a few chapters to fully grasp what they're saying. Don't give up on it, in other words. Worlds and Collisions, very readable. Very, very readable. Agatha Christie D on the Nile. It wouldn't let me write the word. You think that has application here? Huh? Baron, in the world of deep state, no accountability, with all the evidence that may prove crimes and conspiracies, what would be the chances for any justice and accountability in the CK case? I'll be honest. I sometimes doubt that we're going to get justice and accountability across the board. I mean, look how long we've been fighting for the release of the emails and files that have made the news lately. Have you seen any justice and accountability there? I haven't. And so I worry along with you guys. But what we can do is now we have developed I talked about this the other day. I don't remember his last show or the one before that, but we have now developed a system for pursuing this type of investigation in the future. And now they know what they're going to be up against, and they're not going to be able to do it the same way. Cup of coffee for Daisy. She's doing an amazing job. She is doing an amazing job. There's no doubt about it. I talked to another podcaster today about hiring her own Daisy, and I'm like, you cannot have mine. I won't even tell you what her real name is. So you can't find her and try to hire her. I'm sorry. Did you say Erika's pastoral podcaster is Egyptian? God bless you and your family. He is, in fact. Name's Candace, Kaddis, if you want to look him up. He is, in fact, Egyptian and a member or a pastor in the Calvary Chapel movement with our friend Rob the Sailor Man. So we're just going to assume Daisy is your version of Rogan's Jamie. Looks like you finally found your bill, counselor. She was actually adding notes to the run of show while I was talking and was telling me what you guys were asking about. So yes, I just don't have to say, Jamie, pull that doo-doo up. And we don't do DMT. That's off the table. Charlie was a genius, no doubt. But how did he allow all those losers in his life? They're all fake as blank. Yeah. You're right. It's a great question. He delegated too much. I'm a delegator. Like, I don't follow up on people. If I hire you, I believe you got it, and you can ask me questions if you get stuck. I'm a true delegator. Run, go. Let me know if you get stuck somewhere. I'll meet with you for hours, but the last place I worked, I had a team of 4 or 5 that worked with me. And I would talk to some of them once or twice a week. That's it. Hour here, 30 minutes there. And other than that, it was like, you tell me what you're working on and I'll trust you. And just as long as you get your job done, I'm not going to follow up on you. I'm not going to look and see where you are and all that. So I think Charlie was a lot the same way, and it may have come back to bite him a little bit. Did they have Kirk in the back seat? Audio said front. They did. Did the audio say front? I have to go back and look at that. The sickness that Erika has is called diabetes. While I know the Fed slap narrative is nonsense, I can't A, wrap my head around how so many people have to be involved, and B, how they manage to keep quiet. Would love your take. It wouldn't take that many people to keep quiet, right? Especially if you fear, like, if you're involved in a plot that thick with the deep state actors and all that, let's just assume that's what happened. I don't know. And you knew they could take out Charlie in broad daylight. Are you going to be the one to buck the system? Or are you going to be like Andrew and just refuse to bash Candace when the time comes? The eyebrow people will be Adfleet's next animation. You are the gift that keeps on giving. Very entertaining. Well, he is. He is. Andrew wanted the BB bucks. I hope his 30 pieces of silver haunts him. What's 30 pieces of silver worth these days? What is the current value of the biblical 30 pieces of silver? It would be worth between $90 and $450. That's not very much. I mean, it's $450 is a lot of money, but it's not like you would turn your best friend in to have him slaughtered. I don't know. I understand what you're saying. They kept him busy in the days before. Erika keeps him up all night the night before the fight. They wanted him to be exhausted. Rest in peace, Charlie. He looked exhausted. Do you remember the pictures of there were some pictures in that original set by Charles McClintock Wilson where he was like holding his eyes open while he was sitting in his chair taking questions. I bet I get more views than DJT tomorrow night. I didn't know he was talking tomorrow night. Are we going to war? I hope not. Will CO reveal Fort Huachuca pick with Erika in it on Wednesday? I have no idea what she has planned. In my opinion, AK didn't fall into EK's arms. He said that for theatrics, but set themselves up instead. Lying doesn't pay. All their stories, alibis have fallen apart. Oh, I think he fell in her arms. And I think the key is she didn't know if Andrew's wife flew in on the plane with him. So I disagree there. It's ironic Luther didn't want money equals salvation, but that's kind of what all this is. Wild. Would Mrs. Coleman share her chicken vindaloo recipe? Mrs. Coleman, we were talking last night about the person who tried the chicken thigh recipe, and apparently I left out a very important ingredient, and I was chastised. In fact, members show idea. Mrs. C occasionally shows up, shows us how she prepares dinner for 10. Let me show you lunch. Well, I don't have the picture. I don't have the picture, but I had the whole griddle full of meat. There's 19 pieces of meat on the griddle. I was like, that's how you cook dinner for 10. or for lunch for 10. Apparently the chicken thighs, I forgot this, has balsamic vinegar. As they're finishing, you hit that on there and let it evaporate out, and then you pull them off. And I forgot that. And so when I told her about it, and she said, well, you didn't mention balsamic vinegar. And I was like, well, I forgot. She's like, well, then they didn't have Mrs. Coleman's chicken thighs. She got a great sense of humor. Do you think they were giving CK the chance to change his stance on the tiny hats and they would call off the mission? Yeah. I mean, and my gut feeling is yeah. I would give almost anything for Charlie to still be alive. I feel silly for still mourning a man I never met, but I admired everything about him so much. He was my hero. You're not alone. A lot of people feel that way. Back to the basics. A claim was made that Tyler Robinson had some paralysis in one leg. I don't think anyone followed up on that fact. If true, then that's definitely not him running across the roof. I agree. We need to know. And they will not notice. They won't let us see him walking at all, ever. They put shackles on him. They make sure he's seated. They won't show him walking around. That's a great question. Somebody needs to find somebody who went to school with him, who lived in the neighborhood with him, and say, did he limp? Could he run? Ceremony for angel families today at the White House. Families honoring loved ones years later. Crying, could almost barely speak. Then EK happy, smiling 5 days after. Lies and betrayals from those he trusted most is insane. I agree with you. Frankly, I just agree with you. Andrew's going to come to Jesus Christ real quick, especially when Tyler Robinson starts talking. Just watch. He's going to be in confessional like flies on doo-doo. Roll that beautiful bean footage. Pre-recorded last hour. Could it be so we could catch flight? Allegedly, maybe, perhaps. That was my guess. That was my guess. I think I said that. If I missed it, that was it. That's the point I was trying to make. CK was tired afterwards, the midget horse interviews, and AK had to host the CK show. CK was already planned for the restaurant interview. Another lie. I don't know if that was a lie. I think what he was saying was he was mad at him for scheduling the Caterpillar Eyes interview, and he had to, and he made him host as makeup. That's the way I understood it. Gary, Baron, can you invite Gary on one day? Maybe he can accidentally leak some info he's not supposed to share. We'll solve the case in no time. Gary, you're a permanent co-host. We got to get to the bottom of this. That's funny. Did Andrew match his clothes, live versus recorded? Well, the recorded segment was actually Charlie Kirk interviewing some philosopher. CK had an interview in Utah planned for the AM of UVU with a tight timeline before UVU. Yeah, we covered that. He wouldn't have been able to host the CK show the day of anyway. Yeah, but maybe he was going to have somebody else host it. AK or someone would have been already scheduled to host CK's show that day. Yeah, agreed. I just think he was saying, you've got to do it now because you're making me do the Caterpillar interview. How do we watch the first hour? Wasn't pre-recorded as well, made to look live. Oh, how do we know the first hour wasn't pre-recorded? That's a good question. People are going to look to me. They all just wanted Charlie's spot, huh? Bunch of vipers. I didn't even catch that. You're right. He did say that. He made it about him, didn't he? That's crazy. I got right past me. This is why we have the jury. Have you seen Project Constitution's video from behind Charlie? They released with blacked out area of handheld microphone, blatant mockery. Did he release the video or just the stills? I didn't see the video. I only saw the stills. This is exactly what I thought when I heard how Bill Montgomery pursued Charlie. They all did. The bigger it got, the more they joined in. Yeah, Andrew and Johnny Moore pursuing Charlie seemed a lot like Bill Montgomery's story of pursuing Charlie. I agree. Sent email Charlie's neck video clip yesterday. Okay. Getting better in my old age. So you're admitting you're 67, not 48? About time, old timer. I'm only 46, sir. I just feel 67 and apparently look 67 if you ask Coach. Baron, watching you is like watching Columbo, but you're even better. Oh, but I don't smoke that green cigar he smoked. Ditch the hoodies and buy a trench coat. Never. Never. Happy Monday, Baron and family. Keep the slop at bay. 2.0. I'm doing my best. I'm trying to keep the slop at bay, Grant. I'm every day I'm trying to keep the slop at bay. This is absolutely diabolical. I hope you're talking about them and not me. Because if you're talking about me, I'm going to fight. Was the shirt Charlie was wearing that day saved into evidence or destroyed? That's a good question. Because I think they probably would have had to cut it off, right? I think they would have. It's a good question. I wish I could be as gracious as you are to Andrew. I feel he is diabolical. Ooh, word. A complete Machiavellian. How many skeletons in his closet? In my opinion of ours. Go Max. You know what's funny when you mentioned the skeleton in the closet? I saw a video of Mike Huckabee from when Jonathan Pollard was still incarcerated, and he was on video saying, the guy served his time. The president should find some leniency, some clemency, let him go. And I thought, what kind of weird stuff do they have Mike Huckabee on video doing to make him act the way he acts? Like, it has to be the most grotesque stuff you can imagine. It has to be so bad. And think about Mike Huckabee in the day. He was, his claim to fame was he was a big boy. Now, that was like that's what he ran on. I can't imagine what that video is. I can't imagine. Phone died from dead battery, but it sounds dramatic to say the phone stopped working. Yeah, maybe. Brian has a bizarre phone story as well. Really? I don't remember it. I need to look that up. I laughed so hard that while I was trying to send this super chat, my phone stopped working. Don't bother calling me. It's in the trash. Poor Andrew and his missing phone. I just think it's funny that his phone stopped working, and then he still had to be in Salt Lake City. He still had to be in Phoenix. He still had to do the show. And apparently, he's unable to communicate on behalf of TPUSA this whole time. Baron, assuming your AK-EK phone theory is true, how would that impact who Mikey called and him not giving the actual call logs to Candace Owens? Notice he didn't give the call logs. Maybe he was calling backup phones. Maybe he was calling burners. Maybe he wasn't calling anybody. Maybe he was lying. Maybe that's why they were doing all the three-ways. Maybe Elizabeth was with him. I don't know. But it's a great question. I want to see the Verizon intros. Or inputs. B-Dog. I've never been called B-Dog. Not a day in my life. I'm not sure I like it. B-Dog. I'll allow it, but just this once. Proceed with caution, counselor. If they planned on taking CK out for real, why not place an experienced operator on the roof to take him out? To pull off such a professional hit, you don't overcomplicate things. He's alive, maybe. Well, maybe they did. Maybe there was an experienced operator on the roof. I don't know. Hey, Andrew, did you try turning it off and turning it back on? Did you plug it in, Andrew? Erica's never going to show up for any Q&A. She's not going to chance anyone asking her questions, in my opinion. Maybe. Does the flight log timeline work with Andrew texting CK 30 minutes before the Big Bang? Especially since we hypothesized Mrs. Kolvet brought the phone with her on flight. First super chat, longtime follower. Yeah, I think it does. I think it works. Where's my run? I'll pull it back up. I don't know it. Let me see if I can find it. I think it does. I think I looked at that. I'll pull it up and we can look together. So if he was texting Mr. Kirk 30 minutes before the Big Bang, yeah, he would have been on the ground in Santa Barbara while the Tango whiskey plane was repositioning. So yeah, that it would work. It absolutely would work. Glad you're thinking though, like an investigator. That's excellent. Well, not saying AK is selling the truth, but per Goog, a phone not working in this situation is called a TDOS attack. But he was just getting texts and calls. That's not an attack. My daughter wanted you to know that she prayed for you yesterday and thank God for blessing us with truth-seeking people like you. Well, thank you. That is humbling. Very, very humbling, Sarah. Tell your daughter thank you. And I'll pray for her. I'll pray for Sarah's daughter. Thank you. Enters new proof exhibit. Inoperable cell. No phone or text log should exist. Keep taking inventory, Andrew. Keep talking, Andrew. Yes. That's a good point. AK phone broke. How screenshot message Candace got? He must have screen capped it really quickly, huh? Before the phone broke? That's a good question. I wonder if they did that to find rats on the ship. It seems like Andrew's anxiety hinders on if Charlie lived or not. Wait later, he says he watched live the videos to see if Charlie survived. Maybe. That's not a bad theory. Erika Kirk, befuddled by Q&As. And daffodils. First-time super, did Bongino quit because he knew they killed Charlie and was afraid of being next? No. Serious question on Dan Bongino, though. Have they replaced him? This new character does not look like him. It doesn't look like him. Or he got bad plastic surgery or something. Something's gone terribly wrong with him. I'd love to see the date and time of the receipt for AK's new phone. I can't imagine him going a minute without his phone to have contact in the midst of this debacle. I bet he had a new one right away. I'm curious if anybody asked, like, hey, brother, your phone quit working? What's that mean? If he's like, oh, the battery died, then that's dumb. Why did you say that? Aerial map, white pickup by Woods, also at hospital parking lot on Ferry Lake, Christian Revival in Bozeman, same weekend. See Gmails with photos. Cameraman kept saying they shot Charlie, not he was shot. I knew that last part. The Ferry Lake Christian Revival in Bozeman. I thought that was a few weeks later. A couple weeks later. The aerial map, white pickup by the Woods, also at the hospital parking lot. I don't believe that because I have video footage from after the event when the cops are coming and searching that area, and they're looking in the truck. I don't think it's the same white truck. Can we please talk about Spencer Cox again? Floor is yours. I don't have anything else to say about him. Didn't they say TPUSA was trying something new, broadcasting back to Arizona? Why was AK taking calls and not watching the event live? He wasn't in Arizona. He was either at his chalet in Santa Barbara or he was on an airport tarmac waiting to take off. One or the other. I sent in a low IQ question in Gary's live today, and he had fun time answering. For such a low IQ question, he had a lot to say. Also, what can we do to support you better, Baron? I tried Macron signs on my van for Candace. What? I don't even know what that means. I would have loved to see the low IQ question, but there's no way I'm going to watch a Gary live. That is never going to happen. How many fives and tens of people were watching? Baron, you need a Sherlock Holmes hat and a pipe. I've got a bad cop hat. Look at that. That bad cop. I got a bad cop hat now. Better watch out. If I put it on, you know it's on like donkey. If the camera fires up and that hat's on, we're going to throw down. That's my throwdown hat. That might come after Candace's Wednesday show. Every show gets better and better. So was CK really autopsied, cremated? I assume he was autopsied because Erika referenced an autopsy report. It's going to be really awkward if she says she saw one and then they get to trial and there wasn't one. So I assume he was. 31K. We should have a record likes, y'all. Let's get to 10K before Baron says Jesus loves you. Thanks for all you do, Baron. Congrats on 31K. You're welcome. I think it got up to like 33 or 34 at one point. Hold, please. Oh, we're over 10,000 likes. But please, by all means, keep it coming. Mad World. Mad World. That's a great song. How can his phone stop working and still be able to screenshot the September 9th text that he says he sent to the authorities? That's a prevailing question. At work, wish my phone would stop working. Sorry, guys, my phone quit. You guys are calling me too much from work. What phone do you have, Andrew? Have two at work? It stopped working. Started smoking. Thank you, Baron. We love you. Jesus loves you all. Thank you, Tammy, for yelling at me. Baron, please look into Johnny Moore. So that's an example. If you're writing and you see that, I would move the word more. Please look more into Johnny Moore. Johnny Moore sounds like I'm Johnny two times over here. He ran the GHF and has a lot of connections to the Middle East and connections to Egypt, including their leaders. I will do that. We'll take a gander into Mr. Moore. Why do Terrell Farnsworth and Andrew Kolvet both say they killed Charlie? Ooh, when you expect them to say someone shot Charlie? I would think so. That's a great observation. Mr. Barron, thank you for the newlywed advice. It meant a lot to us. Please read He Heard His Brother Call His Name. It's a fantastic book of real events leading up to the Kennedy assassination. Thank you. I can't commit to reading that, but I will take it under advisement. How about that? Andrew's going to squeal like an accountant in the Dark Knight. I know he will. I haven't seen it, so I can't comment, but I'm assuming you might be right. The more I see him, the more I wonder if Caterpillar Brows has a miniature Moloch in his house. What makes you think it's miniature? His whole house might be shaped like Moloch. They might live in the belly where they sacrifice the babies. Oh, poor Caterpillar, man. Caterpillar eyes, midget horse. I mean, he's not doing well. He's not doing well. TB on show 910, make fit to AZ pre-recorded effect. I'm sure that says something profound. Baron, any way for our community to legally sue to get the police and court to publicly recognize our community research? No. No, unfortunately, no. The answer is no. Hi, Baron. My wife never misses your stream, so I'm borrowing your mic for a second. Babe, come to bed. Let's watch together. I love you. Yes, it's me. I'm speechless. I'm speechless. Absolutely speechless in this moment in time. Watching live for the first time, you usually sit shotgun with me on my long drive home from work at midnight. Thanks for making commute educational and high IQ. Well, thank you. I do like to listen to podcasts when I drive it. It really helps the time go by. First super chat, love your show. Close to 225,000 subs. Oh, are we? I'll take a look. I'll be the judge of that, sir. We're just barely over 222,000. We'll get there. We're making it. Come on, guys. Tighten up. If you've not subbed, what does Jesse say? It's not free to watch the show, but it doesn't cost anything. You got to hit the subscribe button if you're going to watch. Got to hit it. It's the only thing that's only right. Early Frank T interview said he got a heartbeat in the hospital, but at Memorial, he left that detail out. Remember the after Supernex story? Alex Jones said AK told him bullet exploded in his heart. I remember that. I forgot all about Alex Jones saying that. That's crazy. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's crazy. Maybe he was, I don't know. Baron, maybe I'm befuddled by daffodils, but I didn't see Andrew contradict himself. Wasn't he so anxious on the plane, waiting to hear if Charlie made it? But didn't Andrew contradict himself? Well, he said it was the next day his phone stopped working. Conveniently. The day after the Big Bang, when all the talk and guilty texts would be flying around, and conveniently his phone quit working. Can you include a link to those September 9th interviews? Pretty please, Baron. I'll try to remember to do that. I'll try. I do a lot right after the show, but first thing I got to do is run to the restroom like Usain Bolt. Recently, notice I haven't been drinking my beautiful. What flavor is this? This is mango passion fruit, less sugar, 35 calories. Kombucha. I've not been drinking it because I don't have anywhere to put it. Recently started watching you, binged a few episodes this past weekend. You've come a long way with the equipment. Your burns on Blake tonight were delicious. Thank you. Yeah, the only thing we've really upgraded is the camera and the light that you can see. I mean, I've upgraded a few other things, but the only thing that I think you can see is the camera and the light. But thank you for noticing. Thank you for noticing. I probably wouldn't have upgraded the other camera if it didn't break, but the ability to freeze the focus stopped, and every time I moved it, like shorted out. I had to change it. Baron, contact AK privately. Let him go on background, present the facts, and let JC deal with the aftermath. Can you describe your writing process for creating your openings? Do you set aside a time, take notes throughout the day, make outlines first, all the above? Curious because they slap. Yeah. So I usually try to think about a topic. I'm trying to think of one in particular. I'll think of a topic, and then I'll think of an opening line. And sometimes the opening line is profound, and sometimes if it's biographical in nature, it's just like so-and-so was born, so-and-so comes from whatever. once you get the opening line, then I create like an outline of, how long I want it to be based on everything I've got to cover. Like tonight was going to be a long show, so I tried to keep it shorter. But I'll do an outline like I want, the first 100 to 200 words to be on this topic, and then the next 200 to 300 words I want to be on this topic, and then the next 500 words I want on the meat of it, right? And then the last 200 or 300 words is kind of a summary. So I'll kind of outline it that way. And then I will go back and start plugging in facts, like in outline form. So just like boom, 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 just bullet point the facts that I want to include in there. And then I will prose them into the opening. Like at that point, I'll go through and I'll start trying to craft sentences that sound good, that have a good cadence, a good beat. I have things I do that I like turns of phrases I like to use. I like to say perhaps, for example. So that kind of makes its way in just because it seeps in from my voice. In terms of time, in an ideal world, I would bump that thing out between like 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. Sometimes it runs late. I was actually putting the final edits on it in the last 30 minutes before the show today. Because I'd gotten in pretty final form and then I'd forgotten about it. And Daisy and I started working on something else. Then I got a couple of calls I had to take. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot to put the final edits on this thing. So I was actually running through the last couple of paragraphs, punching it up. And sort of put an abrupt ending because of that. I sort of ran out of time tonight. That's it. I mean, nothing crazy. Nothing's extremely wild. We should talk about Spencer Cox again. Governor of Utah, Charlie Kirk, said that Cox should be expelled from the Republican Party. This month, TP Action was hosting a repeal Prop 4 signature gathering events in Utah. I don't know what Prop 4 is. I do know Spencer Cox is kind of this happens in one-party states. He's kind of a left-wing Republican. So was Mitt Romney, was kind of a left-wing Republican from Utah. So was Orrin Hatch, kind of a left-wing Republican. This happens, like Alabama's a deep red state. I can already tell you right now in 2028, they're going to vote for a Republican for president. But they usually elect pretty left-wing governors. I mean, we had Bob Riley down there. Had Kay Ivey. Are you kidding me? I think Tommy Tuberville's kind of the head guy going into the next election, so he might be a little more conservative. But your states that get your more conservative governors are the states where the Republican Party is really having a fight within itself for dominance. But once all the Democrats come in, it sort of waters down your ability to get a conservative, and I think that's happened in Utah. Baron, why would Andrew fly to Scottsdale and not just fly directly to Utah since the bang happened before he left, allegedly? My husband, Ian, and I love what you're doing. God bless you. Because somebody had to fly in on that Delta Zulu plane. That's the problem. Because Erika Kirk, in my telling, left early and came up before, that leaves the flight needing to come up because they thought, the mainstream narrative is that Erika Kirk was in Scottsdale. So in order to get the plane from Salt Lake City to Scottsdale, then to get back to Provo, somebody needs to be on it. Not going to reposition twice on an empty plane. So they just throw Andrew on it. That's, it's just a thought. I mean, I can't state definitively that's what happened. Hit the like button, folks, especially if you're forward-looking thinker. Yeah. Do you have anyone in contact with Aubrey L. that could ask her about AK movement on that day? Any other key factors, flights? Can't wait for Wednesday. Yes, I do. I will arrange that. Philadelphia man with pony and 3 mustaches. Who is Ben Shapiro? 3 mustaches. Poole didn't try to soften CK fall to the ground. Who's Poole? Oh, Flood, not Poole. But Pools do flood. Could CK chair cushion have been source of shock? I don't know. None of these security sound guys startled when the bang sounded. No, and one of them braced before it happened. Southwest Holmberg Gray. Moody and sophisticated. Thanks for great investigation. Oh, you talking about my paint color? I'm not doing gray. I'm getting off gray, guys. The gray and the white thing in houses, I'm done with it. Nope. No, I'm not doing gray. We got to have some green, ladies and gentlemen. Green. Let me talk to our grumblers here. I've not spoken to them recently. Dear grumblers, Andrew was commenting how beautiful AK's eyes were 2 days after. Disgusting. I don't think Benny has scrubbed it yet. Raises more questions. Was he? I haven't seen that. If Erika took the earlier plane and she left her cell in Arizona, maybe three-way call with Mikey and wife was just to Erika's voicemail. That's why it's only a 2-minute call. That's an interesting point. I hadn't considered such. If Andrew's last text to Charlie was at 10:50 a.m. Pacific time, wasn't he supposed to be live on the air then? Why would Charlie be texting him during the show? Well, if Charlie knew that the second hour was a pre-record, it would open up the texting. That would open that up. Baron, Johnny Moore, Kairos PR, was at Liberty U for 12 years. Seemed to recall AK talking about AKEF, JM, Liberty U connections early on post Big Bang, CK targeted. There's a lot going on there. Along the lines of the Timpanogos hospital fraud with Governor Cox, Cox looked nervous as heck when standing by Cash. When Cox also said praying for 33 hours, fraud equal FBI, forced Cox to say that. I guess. I don't know. EK, phone home as you'll need legal assistance. Mr. Coleman, Newsweek article, May 17, 2021. Some 60,000 people now belong to this secret army, many working under masked identities and in low profile. I don't know what army you're talking about. My only prior knowledge of Provo is from Fletch. I can't hear you say Provo without the vivid image of Chevy Chase extending his hand and saying Nugent, Ted Nugent, every time. Keep up the max. I haven't seen that movie since I was a kid. So I'm not familiar with that off the top of my head. I have different thoughts on Andrew. And then there's an emoji. You're allowed to have different thoughts, Short Coin. I'm not going to stop you from them. My phone broke. Had to get a new one. Sorry, reminds me of all the Karen Reed witnesses. The dog ate my phone theory. I don't know who Karen Reed is. You guys are going deep in the bank tonight. I've always thought AK was the one leaking to CO. Also, TPUSA and their overuse of adjectives makes me crazy. Go Max. Christ is king. Christ is king indeed. I have long suspected he might be the one leaking to Candace Owens, but I obviously can't prove that. But his total inability or unwillingness to even remotely go after her on that interview was pretty telling to me. Baron, there's a reason why you said you're drawn to praying for AK in my Bill Engvall voice. Here's your sign. Baron, we must keep praying for Andrew. I agree. Here's my sign. Andrew is afraid because he thinks CO is a witch. Why didn't you use spaces? Like, of all the things you would skimp out, I mean, it would take me longer to write it without spaces than it would with spaces. You've got to break the habit of hitting the space bar in between words. That's weird. No name and no spaces. Baron, I'm sure I saw Andrew blink 3 times. Go ahead and give him a ring on his new phone. Praying for Andrew, the most sincere of them all. What makes you think I have his number? AK didn't say anything about CO. He's afraid of... I don't even want to say what that... It looks like something you drop off in the toilet. I have no idea what that is. AK has more authentic response. I think shell-shocked. Didn't know what to write. Best friend. Didn't attack conspiracy theorists. Didn't mention KCO because he is source. Standing my ground on this one. It's a reasonable conclusion from today, honestly. A reasonable conclusion. Charlie had something come up that he needed PR for. Sounds like Ben Shapiro's scandal with his former partner and the fake assault. I don't think, maybe, I don't know. Baron, if we're suggesting paint color, Sherwin-Williams Portsmouth is gorgeous. Thank you for continuing to seek truth. Christ is King. Yeah, we're taking calls. Sherwin Williams Portsmouth. Portsmouth's a good gin too, by the way. But I don't drink it anymore. I don't drink it. Ooh, that is pretty. It's a little lighter than I want, though. But thank you. That's a pretty color. Hi, BC. Love the show. Looking at the larger picture, do you think we're near the end times? No. I try not to be apocalyptic, but I have bad feelings since 2020 mass electrical fraud. Electrical or electoral? These dispensationalists appear to be fulfilling that doctrine. See, this is where you and I disagree. I don't think dispensationalism has anything to do with the end times. I mean, there's no other temple coming, guys. It's not going to happen. Like, it's not prophesied. It's not coming. It's not happening. Again, I'm not telling you what to believe, but the way I look at it is, if you think this is bad times, you should have lived through the 500s, the 700s, the 900s, the 1600s. There were some truly, the early 70s, there were some truly bad times in the world where like a third of the planet died. That's apocalyptic. I'm not saying that we're not near the end times. I'm saying there's nothing I see in the news that makes me think it's any more likely than any other time. But I don't think anything that happens in the boundary of our greatest ally has anything at all to do with that, other than the fact that we're due an Antichrist at some point. AK is treading lightly so he doesn't become the next Candace Owens docu-series. AK, don't be a Joe, be a daisy. Aww. That's great, Adriana. I hope you buried out of the snow. You know, we got snow here today. Just a little bit. Just flurries. But it was crazy when I saw it. I was not expecting it. It was like 70 a couple days ago. Isn't Andrew a PR guy? He's trying to play it good. I mean, he is a PR guy. Not always the best. Sorry. Good evening, Baron. I want to thank you, Candace, Ian, and the rest of this together. I wanted to ask if anyone's looked into the lady and her 2 children. Their TV time was very weird to me. I feel it was off. Thank you. Not deeply. We haven't looked into many of the TV witnesses. There were a couple other TV witnesses that I want to look into, including one of them who was right there next to the tent. Bigger feller, red hat, did not budge when it happened. Just sat there and watched. I want to look into that guy. We can hold for phone calls and bathroom breaks. You had to hold for a phone call, didn't you? I blurred that out, by the way. I didn't want anyone going back and reading lips. Andrew has many tells. You gave me a rabbit hole for my other day tomorrow, so thank you, sir. Keep shining. I'm doing my best. $2 for potty break. For goodness sake, Baron, go pee. Your back teeth are floating. Yeah, my molars are floating. There's no doubt about it. I've made it this long. I can hold on a little bit longer. I think he's been investing on the inside and watching Candace. That would be amazing. I hope so. Yeah, that would be. How is a raven like a writing desk? Haha, love your new decor. Jesus Christ is King. Yeah, so this isn't a raven. This is a crow. It's a cast iron crow. This was mailed to me by a wonderful listener to the P.O. box. And it is beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. I love crows, and I was fascinated. Got it. So I put it there. I do love crows. My husband left for work 14 years ago and never returned. I was a shell of myself for years. Our kids kept me going. I'm tearing up now. She is not grieving. Anyway, go Max. Keep being amazing. Oh my goodness, DJ. That's kind of a fear of mine. It's not being able to say goodbye. You know, it ends suddenly, and you know, that's terrifies me. I think I've mentioned this song on the show before, but there's a song by Jason Isbell, Isbell. It's called If We Were Vampires. If you've never heard it, keep a handkerchief handy when you play it. Not a square one like Erika does, but an actual real one. You'll need something. Very, very beautiful. We are your grand jury. We will hold, please. Now go pee. I can make it. It's not easy being me, but I'll make it. We have birthed too many babies to have the bladder for this much laughing. Oh, I'm sorry. I just love your humor, friend. Keep being you. You're the best. Something to Jesus loves you. Thank you. Thank you. Jesus loves you too. Remember, AK asked CO if she was a witch. When you speak against her, a bad thing happens to the person, he said. I think AK is afraid bad luck will befall him if he says something bad about CO. Really? Bad things happen to people who say bad things about Candace Owens? Alternative theory. AK was actually pushed to set up the BS interview by someone. New phone to hide evidence on old phone from TPUSA and insurance policy. Oh! That way they can't say, hand me your phone. I like that. Did AK fly in night before and use SUBND transponder to host Charlie Kirk's show? And at the same time, I think he's smarter than AK, more likely to coordinate that day. I don't think so, because I'm pretty sure the studio he was in was at his house, allegedly. Let's not be mean. Perhaps a dog jumped on him and broke his phone. Maybe. Could have happened. Why would F. Turek say they had to seize the SUV they took Charlie to hospital in? Why not the one they brought him in? That was just weird. Why need to seize a vehicle? Well, because they had evidence in it. Rick Cutler was actually searched on Google, but they searched Richard Cutler from Israel. I have proof in case it was wiped. Duly noted. New subscriber, glad to be here. Do you think Andrew's scared to have a profile piece done on himself by CO, so he's being careful? Can I also ask for prayers for a new heart issue? Christ is King. Christ is King indeed, Kim. Yeah, of course. I hope the jury will join me in praying for you. I'm sorry you're having a heart issue. Love your humor and ability to laugh at imperfections. Also, are we positive TR car did not have a sunroof? I'm pretty positive. I think I've seen it from above. Love Baron, have you seen where Trump started Board of Peace? Sounds very Revelations to me. I saw where he started it. I'm trying to find the Revelations. Can't. Tracy Martin on the Graham Allen interview stated that Andrew and Erika met up at hospital, not the airport. Hard to imagine the slop getting deeper. Yeah, except the problem is that's not what Andrew said. Why were we going to believe anything that woman says? Come on. I wonder if Andrew's trying to walk a midline. He's probably afraid of a series like Bride of Charlie. I'm going to say Charlie there. I don't know what that little emoji is. Knowing CO fully capable, and he does the same with EK. Just a thought. Hey, bought the Ignatius Bible like yours. Thanks for sharing. You're welcome. I hope you enjoy it. It's wonderful. It's really good. The parts I've read are phenomenal. Bayron, maybe Pizza Lip and Lady Glitterbomb arranged. You know what's funny to me is, if you'd have said that to me 6 months ago, I'd have been like, Pizza Lip and Glitter Bomb. But now I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, I've never seen anything make more sense a day in my life. Arranged Ben Drew just gets the blame. Boy looks like there's substantial weight bearing down on his soul. Yeah, maybe. Glitter Bomb. Oldest child work comms on the Hill. And PR off. AK is playing the typical political PR messaging game. Very well could be playing both sides, rooting for Candace while having to show necessary support of TP. Yeah, maybe. Could EK be holding back due to the EK agreement with CO before their sit down? No. Their sit down came 4 days after that interview. To stop all discussions, live stream, and tweets, I had a cell phone stop working due to being full of pics, vids, etc. Jesus loves you. Stop working? Never heard as much. Oh no. I've lost where I was. Oh, way up. There we go. I always wondered why EK deleted his Instagram middle of the night. After seeing all these crazy IG comments Erika made, I realized that's why he deleted it. The only way to hide comments from your past. Good call. Good call. I didn't even think about that. First super chat. I always thought AK was a mole. He remains in the darkness in order to feed the truth to those in the light. We must pray for him. I've been praying for him. I have this deep internal need to pray for him. I hope you join me. Maybe our prayers were working, and that's why he was acting that way. Truly heartbreaking. He was betrayed by those he trusted and loved. To them, he was just a mission. Justice for CK. Christ is King. Christ is King indeed. Look at you guys dropping memberships like bombs. I live in Santa Barbara. Silver Air manages private planes here. I am friends with the man who sold Diddy his jet. Can't someone request flight logs from Silver Air? Santa Barbara's not very big. I mean, I can't. I think it's a private company, isn't it? We could try. Someone try, please. There's 26,000 of you listening. Someone please try. AK having a change of heart, probably feeling bad. I don't know about that. First time ever sending money, keep fighting the good fight. Christ is King indeed. I'm trying. Have I done a deep dive into Tyler Robinson and his family? I find his dad's business to be very sketchy. I mean, we've looked at it. Maybe we'll put that on the agenda. I don't know much about his dad's business. Allegedly. Do you think there's a coincidence in TPUSA missing their Giving Tuesday goal at midnight and sending a late night tweet inviting CO to meet? I don't think they missed anything. I get those fundraising emails. It is disgusting. It's just disgusting that they're still conning people into donating small dollars. Have you heard that Mary Kirk is going to fight EK for TPUSA? Who's Mary Kirk? Or that Charlie's parents trademarked Charlie's name and now EK is going to sue them? I think Erika trademarked his name, if I'm not mistaken. Or is a YouTube channel making this stuff up? I don't even think there's a woman named Mary Kirk. Are you talking about the sister? Is her name Mary? No, she has no. You can't fight someone for a charity. It's run by a board. They can select whoever they want. It's not a private company. There's no succession. Like, you can't leave it in a will. That's the very definition of a nonprofit. Greg Turk said on Think Megyn Kelly interview that he pounded CPR on CK in van. Does it conflict Harpoles? And at hospital, they say staff pounded on CPR. Frank T said probably why still had a pulse. Probably assisted neck injury. I don't know, man. I don't know that I believe old Frank Turek, much of what he says. I find him to be a deeply dishonest person. Deeply dishonest person. I never miss your comments. See how that works? I'd be sick if CO was doing a series on me. That's the first thing I thought. It's obvious EK has diabetes approaching stage 5, rumored incurable. We should pray for her. That is what high IQ folks do. Yes, we should. We should. Pray for your enemies. Terrell Farnsworth said Goldsberry put the mic on Charlie. Yes, that's correct. I emailed you about a few weeks ago with screenshots. I've known that since the third day. Also, can someone hook me up with a membership? Thank you for all you do. So when people give memberships, it's just random. If you see somebody who's a member leave a comment or something, you go up there and click and it'll say you're available for getting a gifted membership. And then maybe one lands in your pocket. But I don't think you can direct them at people. Unless you're going to pray every prayer of the divine office, you do not need the set of 4 books. Buy Christian Prayer, 1 book, and much cheaper. Yeah, we have that one. I just thought it'd be cool to have the full set. It is a fortune. I thought it'd be fun. There's a gentleness, kindness within AK. I truly believe he's been caught up in something and doesn't know how to deal. P.S. Bring back the hats, Mr. C. Like the bad cop hat? Can't really see the bad cop part. I'm incognito as a bad cop. I'm incognito. I'll bring back some hats. We have some bad copping to do here. CK swayed DJT from War with Iran, and Philly saw him as a threat to their agenda. He was just too powerful and wouldn't be in line for VP. AK tried to save him with one last pro-Philly interview on BS, and he didn't bend the knee. Oh, wait a minute. I said the other word, like the bull doo-doo in my head. But we repeat ourselves. I think you were talking about Ben Shapiro, but it's the same thing. Same thing. That's funny. Blake Bednar's X, third video down, shows 910 Kirk. Everyone focuses on RT facing tent. Look at LFT, man behind stage, crouching down, raises up, raises shirt, looks down, self, can't see wires on torso. What is that? Huh? I'll have to check that out. I don't want to do it on air because the YouTube's weird about the scene of the crime. They get real bent out of shape. They get real bent out of shape. Baron, have you read 1 Second After? If not, you should. I hope to see you at CrimeCon. Yeah, so someone said I should get a booth. I don't know if that was somebody with CrimeCon or what. They said, do I want a booth at CrimeCon? I've thought of it. I've thought of it, as a matter of fact. I just work like, yeah, I thought of it. I don't even know what the book 1 Second After is, so no, I'm not seeing it. Baron! Baron! Oh, go pee. We can wait. Then read 2 Peter 2:1-3 so we can all be on the same page with the deception we're seeing in Christianity. I'm on the phone tonight, boy. We're going to the Laudate app, Laudate. It's a great app. Got the Bible on it, prayers. 2 Peter 1:3. Ladies and gentlemen, the word of the Lord. 1-3. Simon Peter, a slave, and 2 Peter 2:1-3. I don't know why I'm having trouble with the chapters and verses. There were also false prophets from among the people, just as there will be false teachers among you who will introduce destructive heresies and even deny the master who ransomed them, bringing swift destruction on themselves. Many will follow their licentious ways, and because of them, the way of truth will be reviled. In their greed, they will exploit you with fabrications, but from of old, their condemnation has not been idle, and their destruction does not sleep. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. I had to make it feel like you were at Mass if I'm going to read that much of a passage. Thank you. Maybe Charlie Kirk is the fake prophet that is meant to appear and convince everyone to abandon their religious beliefs and join him. I've gone Gary. I don't think so. I mean, he's not appeared. Just for giggles, watch Frank T put on the spot by Catholic student. I watched it. Chase is knowledgeable. Frank T calls him Mr. Poopy Pants when Chase beats him. Chase would be a good members interview. Chase was phenomenal in that, and Frank lost his cool. He was outmatched. He did not have the high enough IQ. If so, they have military-grade spy tools and work with allies who have similar village. Not so great creature, the original liberator from the garden. There are a lot of words there. That was supposed to say your wit. My bad. Oh, no. Our wit. You're funny too. Delightful, Pam. And delightful. Funny and delightful. See? You have good wit and delight. Full of it, as a matter. Baron, sir. You're going off the reservation with that kind of talk. What kind of talk? I don't know what we're talking about. I agree. Go Pee-wee. Pee-wee? We will wait. Love you. If I ever get to the point where I feel like I'm doing damage, I'll go wait. I'll go pee. But right now it's just pain. I saw a Instagram reel one day, or I don't know, YouTube reel, Facebook. I'm not sure what site I was on. And it was this guy like saying things that he didn't know were true, but were pretty simple facts. And he was like, go. And one of them was like, you know, when girls pee, they feel it in the inside. And he goes, I thought, how's that work? I also did the same thing. I was watching. I was like, thank you for everything you do, Baron. Have you seen the latest from Ad Fleet? I'm calling it Ad Fleet from now on. 2 syllables. David's Flight. Such a beautiful tribute. Christ is King. Christ is King indeed. I've not seen that. The last thing I saw from her was Erika Kirk's music video, My Husband's Dead. Whoa! I felt like I had to go to confession after I watched that. It was a little scandalous, if I do say so myself. I felt guilty. Could have scheduled Ben interview to shed light to public cause. He knew something. For good reason comment. Ooh. Are you... Are you suggesting Andrew Kolvet scheduled the Caterpillar Eye interview just to clarify if Charlie passed away, who was responsible? Is that what I'm reading? And that's for good reason? Dog. I never even thought of that. I don't know if that's true. That's not even my opinion. That's just a possibility, but wow. What a possibility. Looked up September 26th Q&A on Wayback. First capture 8/28/25. No changes 9/17/25. Only change 11/10/25. RSVP changed to registration closed. I don't think it's fair. She agreed to it on 9/19 based on last mod date only. When would they have modified it? Oh, first capture on 8/28. Oh, I see what you're saying. So you're saying it was captured on 8/28 and it had Erika agreeing to it. And then it was modified on 9/19. So somebody modified it, but they didn't think to remove the grieving widow who was busy scheduling her husband's memorial service and would be taking care of her 2 children and was taking on the role of CEO of TPUSA, a 9-figure organization. I think that makes it worse. I think you've harmed the case. Funny how we knew more about Epstein's actual supposed autopsy than CK's. Would Charlie's parents be able to see it, or will we see it in court? I do think they have a right to see it. I don't know why. I want to say I looked up Arizona or Utah law and believe they have a right to see it. Will we see it in court? Probably not the images, but I imagine we'll hear from the medical examiner about it. I mean, I would think. How are you going to have a trial without proving how he died? For Daisy, I don't know anything about her, but her researching abilities are amazing. I could not agree more. Daisy is a remarkable addition to the team. Isn't it suspicious that UVU has denied Fox 13 local news request for docs on the security plan on 9/10, and TR's attorneys also sent 12-page letters supporting the denial, saying its release would taint trial? Yeah, I agree. I think it's a little suspicious. I, too, listened to Fleetwood Mac for years. That is, until I heard the interview with Nyx where she credits the band's stardom to aborting the unplanned baby, Don Henley, and her maid, behind Joe Walsh's back. I haven't heard that. That's terrifying. So we'll stick to the Christine McVie songs. It's going to be You Make Lovin' Fun. It's going to be Songbird. We're going to stick to the Christine McVie songs. I kid. We can have a paint party. I recently searched online for relatives of Erika's mom and sister Tanya. Erika does not come up a relative of either one, but Tanya and Lori show as relatives of each other. That's probably because she has her name blocked, if I had to guess. Rich people do that. People may not know what they were involved in. Yeah, I agree. Also, have you seen the video of POTUS giving a golden key to the Beebster? What are your thoughts on that, bull butter? I do not recall past foreign relationships being so in our face. Yeah, I thought that was a little unnecessary. We'll say that. It was unnecessary. And it was terrible optics. Like, hey, people say this country occupies our government. What say you? Well, here's a key. Time to get rich. Jesus Point USA hoodies. Ooh. Then AdFleet can have AI Erika announce your first month's merch sales. We got 500,000 hats. 10% for my idea. Handshake deal. I don't know about all that. I don't know about all that. Please take a break. You can play us one of your great discussions with Jimmy Dore until you get back. Oh, Jimmy's great. Jimmy's great. I had a friend of mine from high school reach out to me. Hadn't talked to him in 20 years, but I was on Facebook. You know, you're friends with people on Facebook, but you don't interact with them. You just accept the friendship or they accept yours and life moves on. You get to see their kids. You get to see, you know, they coach ball or whatever. But he reached out to me and was like, dude, I was listening to Jimmy Dore and you came on. You know, what the hell is that? I was like, I don't know, bro. I don't know what happened. I don't know how I ended up there. He sent me a link and I joined in. Yeah, I thought it was funny. It was supposed to be CO. It's still the weirdest comment from AK. Still hoping you decide to go max on Fauci. Calling ME fatigue is like calling syphilis bad blood. Myalgic encephalomyelitis. Did I pronounce that right? Myalgic encephalomyelitis. I don't know why you're saying that. Did I call that fatigue? Oh, Fauci's saying that's fatigue. I got you. I hated Fauci before any of you guys knew who he was. I tried to depose the man in 2012, 2013, 2014. No dice. I knew he was a fraud. Him and Robert Gallo, both the biggest frauds, have caused more destruction to the world than any two medical professionals probably ever alive. Certainly cost the world more money than any two medical professionals ever alive. And they just walk around free like they're just not who they are. First live as a member. Y'all are killing it. Go Max. And all that's about Gallo and Fauci. That's just my opinion. It's so interesting that Andrew removed all TP affiliation from his LinkedIn page. For Super Go Max, I miss CK so much. Yeah, that is interesting. And he emphasizes that he's a contractor. Baron, what did you do? What would you take to recover your eyesight? I don't know that it recovered my eyesight, but I do know that it was about the same time. And I'm seeing all these people getting their eyesight recovered using something called DMSO. This is not medical advice. I'm not telling you to take it. I'm not telling you to talk to your doctor, all that good stuff. But it's called dimethyl sulfoxide, an organosulfur compound derived from wood pulp. Colorless liquid, powerful, polar, a product solvent used industrially as a paint stripper and antifreeze. And in medical applications for treating interstitial cystitis and cryopreserving cells. Before you even consider it, do thorough research on it. But yeah, apparently a lot of people are recovering eyesight using this DMSO. I don't know how they do it. Again, I put it in my sinuses and snorted it in my sinuses because they said it would heal my sinuses, and it did. But I don't know if that's how I'm supposed to take it. This is what, like, pre-internet, really. Google was in its nascent stage. I might have used web crawler or Yahoo to find it. Someone invite AK wife for tea. Maybe new flight intel. Ooh. I'm worried about the CO speaking engagement. Can you please use your Google Trends skills to check if places we worry about have searched the name of the venue? The problem with that is it's a very popular hotel in Washington, D.C., and almost everybody who goes to stay there probably has Googled it, which means it's going to have a consistent background noise of lots of searches. I, too, am worried about it, honestly. It's, but I think she'll be fine. I know Johnny Yep is going to take care of her. It's the Catholics for Catholics Gala March, Washington, D.C. That should get it. Yeah. Prayer for America Gala, March 19, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Waldorf Astoria, Old Trump Hotel in Washington, D.C. The third annual Catholics Prayer for America Gala. It's on the Feast of St. Joseph this year, celebrating 250 years of the United States. Candace Owens, Matt Walsh are speaking. General Michael Flynn is speaking. John Yep, Sister Dee Dee Byrne, and Father Chris Alar are confirmed speakers. I don't know if there'll be others. Carrie Brajan Bowler is going to be speaking. So yeah, it's going to be a wild time, and I don't think they would have all those people in there if it wasn't safe. So I think she'll be fine. Looking back at what Charlie was doing, he was basically doing what his future presidential campaign would have looked like, and he was good at it. Befuddled by Daisy. Oh, I like that. Did you get my email regarding the Rollinson formula? I will check. when reading comments last night, you said you could really keep something quiet and people not even know they'd worked on it at all if you just segregated it out. Can you elaborate or give a hypothetical? Yeah, when they built the bomb, the nuclear bomb. No one knew what they were working on. There were thousands of people working on it. They didn't have a clue what they were working on. They were each working on an individual component. It was compartmentalized and segregated out. And so they knew what they're working on rivets for this, or they're working on some kind of shell for that. They have no idea what they're working on. Even the people working on the technical aspect, only a few of them knew. I just can't with Blake Neff. I can't either. Ivan, sorry I'm late. You're forgiven, sir. The gray hoodie works well with your gray beard. Logical for a 67-year-old. Get off my lawn. That's a great comment. I'll be honest with you. You had me. You had me going. Love you, GVC. Keep looking up because that's where it all is. God is great. God is great indeed. You said that AZ was on Pacific time. That's not correct. September 25, AZ was on Mountain Standard Time because it doesn't observe daylight savings. Does this throw off your flight time schedule? If Pacific time, if Los Angeles is on Pacific daylight, what time is that relative to Mountain Standard? The same. So it is the same to say on September 2025, Arizona was on Pacific time as it is to say they were on Mountain Standard Time because Pacific time was on Pacific Daylight Time. And Mountain Standard is Pacific Daylight Time. So, yes, they were the same time. So it is correct. Spoken like a true attorney, you're delicate and wait. You delegate and wait. I'm going to take that as a compliment, Stacey. I'm taking it as a compliment. If I was a betting woman, I'd say Daisy might be a paralegal. Our work is the attorney's right hand. I'm not going to give you any clues. Someone will steal her. I can't afford to pay her double, and someone will offer her double, and then she'll be gone. I'm kidding, Daisy. Blake reminds me of that Tom Cruise character. I keep expecting him to get up and dance. Tom Cruise. How do you confuse EK? Ask her to say deconstructive. What? At the start off, AK reply in that interview, he stated he loves to screenplay and just wanted to write screenplays. And honestly, it looks like he head up the theater department quite well. God bless. More ways than one. Jesse read the post from USA Guy and felt that there was coding within the words. Ooh, interesting. Him and Valhalla said they found out things about him and said they sent it to the top. Stopped talking about him. Interesting. Stay tuned. Did you see the space weather news video at Animal Migration? No, I looked for it. I looked for it again today. Is it a link with it? I only look at the front page. I don't dig. So if it's not on the front page, I didn't see it. I don't see it now either. Try this. Spaceweather.com animal migration. Let me try that one. I don't see it. I apologize. I wish I had found it because I was interested. I actually looked it up after the show and looked it up again today. You should consider having a minimum 3 to 5 minute intermission on your show so you can use a bathroom. What would I do for that 3 to 5 minutes? I will say, like, I used to do a 3-hour daily radio show, and I thought, well, 3-hour podcast is about the same. Well, it's not, because in a radio show, every 8 to 10 minutes, you get up, move around for a couple minutes. Every top of the hour, you get 6 minutes. Bottom of the hour, you get 3 minutes. So it's not at all the same. I'm stuck. I'm sitting here. It's easier to have a phone burn up than to delete all those messages. Am I right? Yes. Having Ben Shapiro to Infest is so much more sinister than it already was with this additional context. Agreed. I bet EK will feign hospitalized illness before CO on Wednesday. She's been going hard for sympathy points lately. Also, her Q&A at Infest was scripted. Really? I hadn't heard that, nor did I watch it, frankly. EK mentioned a monument at TPUSA. I seriously wondered if they were going to put Charlie inside charge admission like Lincoln's funeral train. She was weird about that one thing she wanted. Can I just have one thing? Can I have one thing and my kids have one thing? First ever super chat. Tomorrow's the State of the Union address. Oh, that's what tomorrow. You know what we ought to do? Well, let me see what time it comes. I could provide commentary. What do you think about TR's defense team trying to get the prosecutor disqualified for conflict of interest because his daughter was at the CK Big Bang? I mean, I understand why they did it, but I don't think it'll matter. What time is the State of the Union? What time is the State of the Union? 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. That would be 8 p.m. our time. What's it usually last? An hour? So what I was thinking of is like roll it, pause it, and talk in between. So that way you get it all. But I don't know that. Roll that beautiful bean footage. What's the Venmo again? Coming in to big boy money. And I got to share the wealth without YouTube getting greedy. Big boy money? Well, for big boy money, I'll show it to you. It's just my name with a dash. Baron Dash Coleman. That's it. There's nothing more to it. But I don't want to make you miss it. I don't want you to miss it. Thank you for thinking of me. Do you think there's enough evidence to at least have AK investigated? No. As you consider merch, please include V-neck for women. Ooh. Best phrases would be hold please and I digress. I would wear it all day long, no hoodie. Oh. A V-neck. Like a low-cut V-neck? Like a blouse? Or like just a V-neck t-shirt? I'm not familiar with women's shirts. I don't know what that would look like. But my sister is helping, and she will certainly know. She's a fashionista. They were all checking their watches, so the bang lined up with James 2012-23. All part of the theater. Now, he will come back as a false prophet, telling all if us were wrong. Not like we thought up there, follow me instead. You're telling me they thought they were lining it up with James 12:23? There's no James 12:23. James stops at 5. Take time for a potty break. I'm not going. No need to limit the book list to 10. Throw a few on that you love and let's get started. Thanks for all you do. Okay, that's a good advice. But then I gotta have some number to cut off because otherwise it'll have 100 on it. I don't want to do that. I saw somewhere that EK's Mommer family owns the Cryo Center where Ted Williams is. Maybe CK is there. I've not heard that. That sounds like AI slop. Dems aren't pushing for the truth because they're the ones that celebrated his death and are being paid to slander Candace. Why do you think they did a public bang instead of him going missing or mugging? I've given up on AK. Don't forget that he's a PR guy at heart. He knows CO is popular. He slides his dirty work to Gary. Early on, I hope he was a good guy. Stuck tuning in Israel Tech. Yeah, but what if he's doing Gary because he knows Gary screws it all up? What if he's like, how do I get this out to the masses? I'll give it to Gary. Gary will screw it up and it'll go viral. He can't look like he's cooperating with us, but he knows we have to see it, but he got to give it to Gary, so Gary will screw it up. Discovered patents that may link Lori, Einstein, and Farah. Extremely interesting. Email sent today at 4:23 p.m. Say hey to Veda, Indy, and Bear, please. Hola! Hola! High IQ outfit. Lowry F matching EK. White hand tattoo has been discussed. Only heard about EK. I don't know what that means. Baron, get a magnifying glass and use it to see emojis. Oh, I still can't see what that is. It's yellow. I see that. A little yellow circle. I assume it's a face of some sort. I hope it's not making fun of me. Has it got an old man beard on it or something? Get Mrs. Coleman to come talk to us 3 minutes and go fast. You were fantastic. Oh, that would be a good idea. She could be my intermission. She could take questions. Baron. Speaking of Mrs. Coleman. Something smells freaking amazing just came wafting in the room. Dinner's almost ready. Baron, what are your thoughts on this shooting at Mar-a-Lago? I heard about it first from TMZ. Also, please buy yourself a Candace hoodie on me. Oh, thank you. I will do that, actually. I'd like one. I don't know what to make of it. I mean, crazy people do crazy things, and he seemed to be a little out of touch with reality. I don't know. I mean, I honestly didn't look that much into it. I think Andrew didn't want to make Candace mad. He knows she won't stop till she knows what happened and exposes the truth. Yeah, maybe. Leslie hired Einstein to count and keep tabs on his silver. We all need to pray more. And always remember that Jesus loves us, sending supers while I can. One of these days, my husband's going to look at the credit card statement. Well, just tell him to back off. Keep your eyes to yourself, old man. Well, I appreciate it while it lasts. I got to send you and the family some gifts with this new big boy money. Steaks, seafood, studio equipment. Surprise me. Thanks to you and the crew for all your purposeful hard work. Nefarious 2? Oh, love Nefarious 2. You love Nefarious 2. Have you seen Risen, 2016 movie about the Roman soldier tasked with finding Jesus' body? As he investigates, he begins to question his beliefs. I have not. Sounds good. Sounds good. I wonder if Charlie thought EK was having an affair with Cabot, but in reality, they were meeting to plan the event, especially since he was allegedly seen at the La Quinta. Maybe more hotel meetups. That's interesting. Andrew said a girl called him and said they shot Charlie, just like what Farnsworth said in his selfie video. That is strange. They both assumed the killer was a they. Yeah. I want to know who called him. You thinking if AK used a pre-recorder for the second hour, he knew Charlie wouldn't one out? Did I hear correctly? Andrew say JD picked them all up in Utah? Yes, on an Air Force 2. Picked them and the body up and flew them to Phoenix. You heard correctly. Hi, Baron. I think your awesome on-air light would look great above your lamp so we can see it. You can put the plate above it. You tell me you don't like my plate? That's what I heard. I heard your plate sucks, old man. Get that thing off the screen. Let's put it up high where you can't see it. But it's whatever you like. Well, you can see it right there. It's right there. Or is it over here? Because I remember the graphics were backwards, but I don't think the background. Right there. Right here. Oh, that was you making fun of my on-air light placement. Maybe I missed it, but how do we know for sure AK was in Santa Barbara and not already in Phoenix? Maybe I missed it, but how do we know for sure AK was in Santa Barbara and not already in Phoenix? Because we watched him on the Charlie Kirk show from his home studio. Because we watched him on the Charlie Kirk show from his home studio. Hey, Baron, we got 3 feet of snow in Mass. Miss Alabama winter. The thing you got on X said AK did show from mobile studio. Where was it? Provo Tarmac, maybe? No, that's, I think, the studio he's always used in his house. It looks the same to me. Unless he really pimped out a plane. Andrew texted Candace to say she and Tucker may be next and sent FBI screenshot of chat text with Charlie about Israel donors. They probably took his phone. Oh no, I don't know. The whole phone broke thing is weird. Charlie's shirt, I think Brian Harpole mentioned the security team, but Charlie Kirk's shirt off at the hospital, possibly Sean Ryan interview. I remember thinking it was super odd at the time. Maria. I like that name, Maria. Big fan of Maria. If you give someone $75 billion every year, you think they would be a little more appreciative. Yeah, but they're not. Canonizing CK to announce officially that a dead person is a saint, to praise and admire someone very much, especially in a way that is too much or that they do not deserve. Have I canonized him? I don't think so. Did you ever talk about how Cash blocked FBI's Joe Kent from doing any foreign influence investigation, led to Cash Tulsi fight in October 2025? We did mention it on air, yeah. I like Joe Kent quite a bit, actually. I like Joe Kent. Hey, B-Dog. Come on, Tapples. Well, hey, Pizza Tapples, dog. B-Dog. I've never been called that a day in my life. Now twice in one day. Another 2 a.m. wake up in Scotland. Thrilled to see you're live. Still live. I'm alive. Live on the air. Hope you enjoyed the video playback of September 10 flights I emailed. If you've seen it yet. Some truthful, kind words at the end of the email, too. I will check it. I run youth boxing program for high-risk youth. I try to use boxing to help them find the crow inside them. Courageous, brilliant. Courageous, resilient, original warriors. Oh, crow. You, my friend, embody the crow. Look out for a crochet gift. Oh, we're crocheting now. My daughter's learning how to crochet. My 7-year-old. It's cute watching her. Could he have fallen into her arms on the tarmac in Scottsdale and they flew to Utah together? I've thought about it. Or if I missed the explanation why Erika would risk being in Utah before, why would that be necessary? I've thought about that. Baron, time to replace that photo of Trump with Charlie Kirk. Keep going, Max. Christ is king. Christ is king indeed. I'm not there yet. We're getting there. Let's see how this Iran war plays out. We might have to take it down. Erika at the high school reminded me of the Steve Buscemi movie. How do you fellow kids? No core personality. I'm a little behind, but I think little Drew is a mole down the rabbit hole for Candace. Seems to be a popular sentiment. Those photos from behind were not leaked to Project Constitution, like he said. They are from Candace's show when she saw the video on a call with Terrell Farnsworth. They are hers. Yeah, that's what I thought. Edge. The big guy you mentioned on the site is Jason, and he was interviewed, which I emailed you weeks ago. He approached the tent after the Big Bang and took pictures. He never ran. He's very sus. So I saw that interview with him several months ago when he did it, but I never dug into him. I just watched the video. Wasn't he a cop or something? Baron, the beautiful Black Forest Green by Benjamin Moore would look oh so lovely in the Baron Den. Keep up the amazing work as always. God bless. That's the leading candidate right now, I believe. Baron, referring to Governor Cox fraud issue, I tagged you 2 posts on Instagram about it. I will never see something you tag me on Instagram. I promise you. I promise you. You can email it to me, realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. Almost $1 billion in fraud. Very sus. Us Utahns have been cursed since Romney Rhino. Lots of fraud. Yeah, you gotta email me. I don't check. I look at Instagram, but I don't look at what I'm tagged in. Hi, Baron. Again, asking prayers for my 40-year-old nephew undergoing open heart surgery on Wednesday. He and wife have 6 sons, and first girl is expected in June. Love to all in the Baron Army. 40 years old and open heart surgery? Oh, my goodness. They've got that down pretty much to a science. So I think, let's think the best. Let's think the best positive thoughts and say our prayers. And I expect he'll do fine. But that's scary, man. Open heart. I'm late to the party, so forgive me if this has been stated, but I can't help think that Brow Muffs requested the interview just to be evil so that he was one of the last people Charlie talked to. Yeah. Candace's Erika edit went max. Coffee fund. What is your coffee ordered? If I don't just get black coffee, which is if I'm out in public, that's a common order. I will get something with maybe like coconut milk. I don't drink dairy. So coconut milk or perhaps some almond milk. I don't do oat milk because most commercial oat milk is just oil. But usually something with coconut milk. I don't like sweet coffee if I can avoid it. Have you seen Wolves in Finance? He is self-imploding with warmongering propaganda. Yeah, I know. Saw that. How do I gift a membership? Just go down to the bottom and the same way you do the super chat, there's an option to select a gifted membership. Like this guy did. Thank you, Mr. Bruce Lee. They're going to love it. As someone who is on the left, I think my fellow leftists aren't covering this because they don't see the big picture regarding Charlie Kirk's death, which goes beyond party and ties back to our greatest ally. Fan of the show. Thank you, Fel Soul. Thank you. Welcome from the left. Thank you. Mandelson arrested. Britain frowns on those people. Yeah, I saw that. and so was Andrew, I think, but not here in the United States. We let him off scot-free. Thank you, Susanna Rosanna Dana. I think Trump is involved, or at least did not stop them. Coach showed an interview where Charlie said the president is just an actor with no power. That would really piss off pretty orange man. Say my name. Susanna Rosanna Dana. I know who you're talking about. You're from Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night Live. Benjamin Moore, Kendall. You guys with you. Deep gray blue. I don't want any blue. Sherwin-Williams iron ore, rich near black gray. I don't want that. Sherwin-Williams naval, moody navy, create depth and sophistication. I don't want blue or gray. I'm going green. It's going to be a green backing of some sort. I shouldn't have announced it until I did it because someone else is going to steal it and it's going to look like I'm copying them. I don't want to do that. Thank you, AJ. Have you seen the video Stu Peters put out showing the shirt explosion to what looks like a detonator man in the audience? Looks very much like Zechariah. I have not. I'll have to check that out. Thoughts on possible tort lawsuit? IED, intentional infliction of emotional distress versus TPUSA if either A, they participated in and covered up CK Big Bang, or C, CK death was faked. Any post-bang donor to TPUSA plaintiff disco fund. I don't think a donor would be enough to get into an IED claim. I don't think anybody. Those are tough claims. But Baron, you always use a colostomy bag while on air. We will never know the difference. It's not the type of number. I don't have to do number 2. I got to do number 1. I'm floating around in my chair over here. You're my trusted source for truth. You're my trusted comment for truth. I love your show, your faith in God, family, truth, sobriety, and especially your humor draw me in. Congrats on your journey. I've been sober 38 years. Well, Atomic Blonde, that's a long time. A long time. Cutest Point USA hoodie. It's not Jesus Point. I was trying to give you $1 million idea and land a joke. Oh. I apologize. I'm probably not going to do that. That's pretty harsh. Besides an ultrasound, has anyone ever seen any pictures of Erika pregnant? I still think they got the children from a Romanian orphanage. I've not seen that, but I saw the pictures. We've talked about this. I saw the pictures where she was having the C-section. That would be a lot of planning if she didn't really have one. That would be pretty wild to get a hospital suite, have Charlie there, get her all dressed up. That would be a lot. I really don't think there was an autopsy completed. EK isn't disclosing where CK is buried, so this body can't be located. Autopsy if ordered in the future. Thanks for all you do. Again, they're going to have a hard time at trial if they didn't do an autopsy. Thank you. Love your logic, Baron, but Andrew as a white hat is failing. Oh, Andrew as a white hat is failing. You don't see darkness. Is the ring power critical role? No leader allows this. You waste focus prevaricating. In my opinion, he's simply best actor. Yeah, I mean, I'm open to that. I'm not saying he's not. I'm just saying I'm open to the possibility. And some of the things he said today made me think, made me wonder. Guys, I appreciate it. I'm almost done here. Automatically thought the interview with eyebrows was necessary so the public knew Charlie's position on our greatest ally. Bless you, Baron. Maybe that's what he was talking about. Maybe that's what he's talking about. Guys, I got to check and see if my grumblers are talking here real quick. Why did AK say, how bad was it? Erika says, looks pretty bad. How would she know? Never watched the video. Well, he didn't say that was Erika that had called him. He said it was someone else. He just said a woman or somebody at TPUSA. A girl called him. Always wondered why you creators didn't create pre-recorded 3-minute videos of recent memes and or channel 4P breaks. That's a good idea. I might do that soon. I've been around since you first started discussing the Charlie Kirk assassination. I thought you would donate towards a magnifying glass so we can see our emojis. I can see yours because your screen is much bigger. Detective with a magnifying glass. Yes, I saw that. It's these over here I can't see. The YouTube ones come up really small. The grumblers have nice large emojis. Guys, we've reached the end. I appreciate all you've done. I thank you dearly for tuning in with me night after night. I will probably be back tomorrow. I can't guarantee that. We'll see how the day develops. If I'm not going to be back, I'll put on X midday that I'm not going to be back. But